everybody, pop culture curator here. It's so good to see you all. It's great. This is Monday evening, day, morning, depending on where you're at. Maybe some of you might even be Tuesday, but it's so good to see you. We're back again for another episode of the
Yeah.
classic series Lost in Space.
Well, the only important thing is it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yep, that is definitely true. Today we're going to be covering season 1, episode 18, called "The Sky Pirate," and the description of that is as follows. Will becomes fast friends with Captain Alonzo P. Tucker, an Earthling who escaped his alien captors to become a wandering space buccaneer. But Tucker's roguish charm hides a secret that could destroy them all. And I wanted to first say hello because I know we've had people that have been in the chat since quite a while, and I want to say hello and make sure everybody gets welcomed. First of all, it looks like the first one here may have been Mikey. Hello, Mikey. Mikey says Sal Mineo as the Sky Pirate. No, the Sky Pirate is played by Albert Salmi, known for many westerns and in a few other things beyond that. Sal Mineo is an actor, Italian actor who was in 12 Angry Men, who was murdered in an alley in Hollywood. He was robbed and stabbed, unfortunately, at a very young age. Mikey says for
like present day?
what's
Must
that?
Must been present day.
No, 1960s. He
Oh,
was in.
oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
so LA was a crap hole back then, even.
Well, yeah, but it was an unusual thing that happened. It was kind of like the parking for the apartment was behind the apartment, so there was like the street in front of the apartments, and then behind the apartments is where the cars were parked, and back there is where he was jumped and stabbed. He was mostly known for 12 Angry Men and West Side Story. Like I said, he was fairly young, so he didn't get a chance to do a lot, which is sad. He was a young, good-looking guy. Probably could have had a really good career. Mikey says, welcome roomies and chatters. And Mikey says, Pop needs one more sub to reach 270. Oh, really? I didn't even realize that. Appreciate it, Mikey. So I'm getting there. So that's very cool. And Mikey says, correction. Albert Salmi played the Sky Pirate. Yes, that's correct. Salminio was in West Side Story. That is also correct. And Mikey says Salmi died in 1990. Yes, he did. And Mikey Susfor says some of his TV appearances were in Gunsmoke, The Twilight Zone, Petrocelli, amongst others. Yes. Of course, as usual, now my phone starts going off.
Oh, I just put the thing in the chat, in the thing for Jill.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go ahead and mute my phone. That way it doesn't distract. And hello, Jill. Good to see you there.
Hello.
Did I forget to put the link in the chat? I guess I may have.
Oh, no, you did put it in the chat. I asked for it before I checked the chat.
Oh, okay. Come on, Ginger. All right.
Uh,
Lemon Pie. Hello, Lemon Pie. So good to see you. Lemon Pie says, good evening, all.
hey, Scurvy.
Lemon Pie says, hi, Pop.
I do have to step away for a bit.
Go for it, Jill. And Lemon Pie says, hi, Pop. So good to see you, Lemon. I'm glad you could be here. Lemon Pie says, hi, Mikey. Mikey says, good evening, Lemon. And there's me saying hello to everybody. And Mikey says, hey, Pop. Hey, Mikey. And Lemon Pie says, this should be a fun review. I think it is. It's a lighthearted episode. I know last 2 weeks, we covered The Keeper Part 1 and 2, which was somewhat dour. But this one's a little more comedic, a little more lighthearted. Basil, hello, Basil. So good to see you. Hey, guys, how is everyone today? And Lemon says, hey, Basil. And Mikey says, doing better steadily, Basil. That's very cool. Basil says, Pop, I hope you're doing well, young man. Keep on kicking cancer's ass. We all look forward to hearing about you winning the fight. I appreciate it, Basil, but I got some more bad news today, unfortunately, from the doctor, but that's how things go. but I'm not going to bog down this stream by bad news. Mikey says doing, he's correcting himself. Lemon Pie says cheers to that. And there's me again. No sense in showing mine again. Mad Scientist, so good to see you all. I'm so,
Hey, man.
yeah, everybody say hello to Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist is a good friend and a loyal YouTuber. Mikey says, hey, Mad. Ola Greg, so good to see you. Glad you could be here. Yeah, definitely Ola Greg. Hello, everyone. I think Ola Greg was on Jill's stream last night. Mikey says, hey, Euler. And Ola Greg says, be careful out there, everyone. Absolutely. I second that. Absolutely, everybody. Be careful and keep an eye on your surroundings. Basil says, Astros are finally winning a game. Haha. So far, 7-3 over the Red Sox. Oh, well, that's good. And Basil says, thanks for the friendship, Pop. That's my pleasure, Basil. Feel free to plug your channel. Resolute Germ says, hello, all. Good to see you, Germ. All right. Yeah, looks like a good turnout tonight. Ola Grace says, cool wrench, Basil. So, PvP may or may not be here. He's having a computer installed in his house. I guess those wildfires up in Canada are getting a little dangerously close to where he works. So his boss decided that it may be best that they work remotely from their homes from now, which makes sense. So PvP, if you're out there listening, good luck with that. Hopefully,
no, he's only he's only
sorry.
15 He's only 15 minutes from where he works. I don't know what that is in Canadian terms.
15 minutes is 15 minutes.
Yeah, but I don't know how far that is.
Well, the only difference would be miles or kilometers.
Yeah, well, my 15 minutes is a lot different than, like, say, my dad who lives up in the cities. His 15 minutes could be half a mile, where my 15 minutes is 20 miles.
Freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same way when I was in California. 15 minutes. If you were in a city, it could be a few blocks. It could be a mile. But if you're on the freeway, it'd be further. And Mike says, good to see you around, Germ.
Yeah. And hey, Germ, how's it going? We got a pool going tonight on how long it is before the Benadryl knocks me out. And everybody got quiet. I'm all alone, no!
Yeah, I was just going to say PvP may or may not make it. And I'm not sure how long Gorilla will last. Gorilla, why don't you tell them about what happened to you the other day?
Oh, yeah, this is what, and I'm sorry to use this term on a Lost in Space stream, but wasp.
You don't have to cuss. You can say it without cussing.
Okay. All right, wasp are buttholes. They couldn't see me at, say, like 8 o'clock in the morning on like a Wednesday or something. Now they had to wait till 5 o'clock on a Friday, so I don't get paid time off for getting stung while on the clock. But I got stung right in the top of the ear, so now I'm having like slight pain in the side of my head here, but it's not enough for me to go into work. But then I got some swelling in the ear too, so I've been taking some Benadryl and all that. So, yeah.
Is it helping?
A little bit, but I don't take it before work, so.
I have to ask. When you mentioned it the other day, you were concerned that they were going to give you a P test. They didn't give you one, did they?
I haven't gone to the ER, so. The
you haven't been to work, Sorry, go ahead.
I haven't been to the ER to require one.
I'm not sure what you mean. Didn't you say that because you're injured at work that it's an automatic P test?
Well, if I go into the ER.
So the regulations are if you go to the ER, you get a P test?
Yeah, because that's an insurance thing.
Even though you're injured at work and it wasn't your fault, is that right?
Right. And the only time, but of course we also had like metal slivers in our eye, but I think they just pay that straight out of pocket because it'd be probably cheaper than their thing. But otherwise, like say if anything happened at work, the insurance will require a piss test to make sure the person's not on any kind of drugs, because the insurance is going to want to weasel its way out of it.
How about it be your fault that you got bit by a wasp or stung? The reason why I ask is I've been asking around, and it's not legal for them to make you take a P test for something that was out of your control. Because basically, it was like I told you 2 days ago. If you get stung by a wasp, if anything, you can sue that company and the insurance company. The fact that they're making it look like something you did wrong, that's not even legal.
Well, I don't know what. I'm just going by what my supervisor told me, and they know about the wasp problem now, and they're going to be trying to take care of it. But those ground wasps are a real pain to get rid of because they're burrowers.
No, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's your fault.
Yeah, they're not saying it's my fault, but it's one of
A P test means it's your fault. It's as simple as that. A P test doesn't matter what state you're in of the country. That means if they make you take a P test, that means they're saying that it could be your fault that something you did wrong. So I'm just saying, let me know. It just sounds highly suspicious. It doesn't make sense.
Right,
anyway,
like if you crashed a forklift or something.
Right, crash a forklift. Right, exactly. Crash a forklift, break something, expensive piece of equipment, something like that. But the fact that you not only was it not your fault, but that due to unseen circumstances at your job that could have been prevented, you were stung by a wasp, and if anything, it made you be worried about a lawsuit from you instead of the other way around. So it just all sides of it doesn't sound right, unless they're taking advantage of you guys. But I hope they're not doing that.
No,
right now we're getting off on a tangent here.
Well, that's one of those. I doubt I'd even win that, and it'd be it'd fall under insurance thing.
Well, the only way you wouldn't win is because they know that you'd be afraid of getting fired just for raising your voice. That's intimidation, which you can also sue them for, and wrongful termination. But that's another topic.
I really don't want to get into it anymore.
I know, and you have no control over it. I understand. And Mikey says, extremely worried about those BC wildfires. Lots of devastation pops. So hoping PvP is all right. Yeah, he says he's okay. According to PvP, like I said, his job is installing computers in everybody's homes so they can work remotely for now, because the fires are dangerously close to the business. So if anything, maybe that's good for PvP. You can relax at home and work from there, at least while they ride out the wildfires. And Herc 130, hello Herc. Hey, good to see you. Salute panel, salute chat. And Resolute Germs.
Yes.
Go ahead, Jill.
Also, in 3 weeks, he's going to have to work from home anyway, so maybe he'll just start working from home now until that session is over. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, hopefully he's happy about it.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, hopefully that's the case, and he doesn't have to bring all the stuff back in a week.
Oh, yeah, that would be a pain in the neck. And well, plus he doesn't have to worry about driving that car back and forth. I know he's been having issues with it.
I didn't know about that part, except for the seat missing.
The seat missing. There was something else that he had taken into the shop where I just don't remember off my. I should remember. He usually reminds us, but we can always ask him.
We always know all about his laundry.
Yeah, we always know about his laundry one way or another. Resolute Germ says the speed of fire is what's important, and it's getting pretty fast. Yes, I completely agree, especially in this crazy weather. California just obviously we all heard about Hurricane Hillary moving its way through there, and our good friend Mad Scientist just wrote that out within the last few days. And I guess he was without power the day before yesterday, sad to say.
The storm's coming here too, but it should be a good thing for us. Not too much.
I know right now we're kind of getting like the edge of it or the side of it. So it's kind of like raining off and on, and it was a little cold this morning. But it's not too bad. It's tolerable. It could be worse. Of course, California, not only do they get that, but they also get an earthquake at the same time. But the earthquake for them, that's no problem.
Divine intervention.
That's right. Well, it's like, and I don't blame whoever's up above looking down at California saying, Hurricane, I think you deserve a little more than that. Here's an earthquake or two while you're at it.
Yeah, Dodger
Mikey,
Stadium got flooded after they hosted those. What do they call those demonic nuns or whatever? And all of a sudden, Dodger Stadium's pretty much underwater.
oh, that's truly heartbreaking, isn't it? Hopefully, one of these days I'll get over it.
Yeah.
Let's
Oh,
see. Go ahead.
yeah. Yeah. Here I. Oh, my camera's broken, but yeah, here I am playing the world's tiniest violin, creating tears of sympathy.
What happened to your camera?
I don't know. That's doing. I have to use the virtual camera, or else I'll get booted right out of StreamYards. I have
You
to get.
can't.
I have to make my way to the backstage to talk to LDG. Maybe he has an idea.
Interesting because the avatar you're using I thought was from Stream, not Stream Labs. Yeah, or OBS. But I don't know. I could be wrong. And Mikey says, "Hello, Herc 130," and Herc 130 says, "Hey, Mikey, Sue's 4. I haven't seen you. I haven't said hi to you in a long time. Hi."
Yeah. Hey, Herc, how's it going?
Yeah, it's good to see you, Herc, again. And Mikey says, "It's all good, Herc. Good to see you." Hey, DVB, good to see you. Everybody
Hey,
say hello to DVB.
hey, DVB.
Hey, you
Hello,
pops.
DVP. Hello,
Yeah, it's
LDG.
great to see you.
And Mikey.
Mikey says, hello, DVB. Ola Greg, I think that's an airplanes. I need to make my screen bigger, actually. I feel bad. Apologize for that there. DVB says, hello, Mikey, Sue's 4. Phantom Boomer, hello, Phantom Boomer. Welcome, glad you could join us.
Hey,
He says,
Boomer.
Herc 130, what's up? And Rosalie Germ says, it's 100% legal. I requires all incidents to have a drug test. Phantom Boomer,
Oh,
Mikey Sue's. Go ahead, Jill.
those emojis were bees, so wasps.
Oh, gosh. Thank you. That definitely makes sense. Beware the wasps. Phantom Boomer, Mikey Sue's 4, DBB, Ola Greg, Resolute Germ, howdy. And Herc 130 says, hey, Phantom, how is the rain level there? It looks like it's affecting a lot of people. Ola Greg says, hey, Phantom. And Mikey says, my phobia, aphophobia, or melissophobia, fear of bees and wasps. Yeah, I'm not a fan either. Phantom Boomer says that pop culture Jill Gorilla Hail
Hello.
Yeah.
and
What size
DVD.
tail do you want?
Yeah, exactly right.
That
You never
Boomer.
know.
Because I can send you some of the stuff they had in Vivian here about 10 years ago.
But
That
the
was
big
8 inch
stuff.
hail. That was 8 inch hail, about the size of volleyballs.
Yeah, it gets really bad when it starts damaging your cars and busting windows and stuff.
That'd be golf ball size hail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DVB says howdy ho, Phantom Boomer, Herc 130, Ola Greg. Phantom Boomer says Herc 130, rain has eased up. Gloomy all day, humid but nice and cool now. Well, that's good news. Other than the humidity, that is. And Mikey says hello, Phantom Boomer. Hello, Lemon Pie. There's Lemon Pie DVB. And DVB says, Lemon Pie, great to see you again. Phantom Boomer says, Lemon Pie. And Ola Greg says, fires were raging close to my friend's house in Conroe, Texas. It's extremely hot and dry. There's some wildfires are a problem here. Yeah, I can imagine that's not good.
It hasn't rained for several weeks, and that's why we're welcoming the tropical storm tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, the storm is nice. It's the lightning you got to be careful of. Phantom Boomer says hurricane was not as bad as predicted. Same in California. They made it sound like it was going to be really bad, but I think it was mostly heavy winds and rain. Lemon Pie says, hey, Phantom Oiler. Lemon Pie says, yo, Herc. And LDG, good to see you. Glad you could join us. LDG is currently LDG and not Job. Evening. LDG was had some great streams yesterday. Everybody entertaining Elihu. I guess he's been out there visiting Florida. And Phantom Boomer says lots of small earthquakes are a good thing. Yeah, that'll keep you on your toes. And Phantom Boomer says lemon pie. Ola Greg says we have a tropical storm coming, so maybe it will put out the wildfires and give us some rain. You can always hope. Plus, fill up those reservoirs. You always need that. And Mikey says 4 minutes ago, wildfires were getting closer to where PvP is located. You may need to evacuate soon, and you may also be out of power. That may be where we haven't heard from him. You mentioned, like I said earlier, He's going to be busy, but we never know when his power is going to go out.
Yeah, I messaged him this morning just to see if he was okay, and he was. But right, I haven't heard from him lately.
Okay. Phantom Boomer says, don't hate the Dodgers. At least they're not in Brooklyn anymore. And Mikey says, hello, LVG. Lemon Pie says, that sucks about the wasp and gorilla. Yes, it does. Sounds very painful. It must be hard to sleep, especially I guess you can't sleep on that side. Ola Greg, warning, warning. Arms waving wildly. That's right. DVB says, Southern California had a tropical storm and an earthquake. Hard to believe. It's just a coincidence. Yeah, you never know, right? And it's definitely maybe not a conspiracy theory. DVB says, hail Antiderivative Jill and Gorilla. And Basil Battle Dragon sends in the wasps. And Basil says, look out, OG. There be a wasp in your midst. Aha. And
I
Phantom Boomer
hear the
says,
pirate voice coming out there.
I know I need to wait. Phantom Boomer says, Basil Battle Dragon, howdy. And Basil says, bring in the tropical storm. It's certainly welcome. Yes, it is. Phantom Boomer says, LDG, free the net, howdy. And Lemon Pie says, yeah, we have a storm coming called Nine. Interesting. And Mikey says 5.4 earthquake near Ojai, California, epicenter. That's a small town, too. Lemon Pie says Tropical Storm 9, no relation to 7 of 9. DBB says the remnants of the California. Just a second. Gorilla, can you read this for me?
I could. DVB says the remnants of the California tropical storm is due to hit here in Tacoma lightly tomorrow, which is good because the skies have been filled with wildfire smoke, so it will help clear the air here.
That is definitely a great benefit. Hello, Daniel. Glad you could join us, Daniel. Good to see you. Hi, guys. What's up? Lemon Pie says technically it's Tropical Depression 9. Okay, there we go. Got a
Sky Pirates. That's what's up.
That's what's up, definitely.
At least one.
Phantom Boomer says Daniel's Hot Topics below. And DVB says yesterday it had that burnt wood smell of a dry sauna and there was smoke everywhere. Oh, yeah, I can't wait till that's over. I bet you guys can't wait either. Basil says, hi, Phantom. Good to see ya. Yeah, definitely. Everybody's saying hello to each other. Wonderful. Looks like we have a great turnout tonight. I will be covering excerpts from the book that I usually cover for Lost in Space, which is Lost in Space, the authorized biography of a classic sci-fi series by Mark Cushman. I highly recommend it. A lot of detail into the behind-the-scenes production of the TV series. Also, he wrote some books on behind-the-scenes production of Star Trek. So if you're a Star Trek fan, at least as far as I know the TOS, I don't know about TNG or that stuff, but from what I've seen of these books, they're highly detailed and I highly recommend them.
Pretty great.
Okay, looks like we've got some more chat. Lemon Pie. But it becomes Tropical Storm Harold if it gets stronger. Well, hopefully it won't. And Mikey says, hello, Brother Daniel and Sister Jill. And Daniel says, Phantom Boomer. Hi, Phantom Boomer. Good to see ya. Yeah, it is, definitely. And Gorilla says, hello to everyone I missed. And, oh, that's right. He typed it in. Okay. Daniel says, hi, Mikey. And Lemon Pie says, hey, Gorilla. DBB says, what's up, Daniel? And Mikey says, hello, Brother Gorilla. And
Hey,
Mikey says, Irwin Allen co-wrote this episode. I don't know about that.
Yeah, since I don't have a Twitch account, it goes to yours.
Which is great. I appreciate it. That's fine. We'll check that out, Mikey. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and give a little forward for tonight's episode. And like I said, it's called The Sky Pirate, Season 1, Episode 18. Say what you will about the space pirate, but Albert Salmi's performance is way over the top. He's actually doing a parody of Robert Newton from Treasure Island. That his ship is too small on the outside to have the larger interior that we see. That Dr. Smith is out of character in the first half, fainting at the sight of the mere man, where he has already met things far more frightening. And that the alien blob is not one of the better monsters. It actually kind of reminds me of the Horda.
Yeah, yep. Me too.
Yeah, just bigger, I guess, huh?
Like if he was gonna stand to anything, it should have been that thing, not the pirate.
Yeah, you're right.
Dang it, you guys stole my joke for later. Thanks a lot. Now I have to come up with a new one.
Sorry about that, Gorilla. But this one turns out to be a very enjoyable episode. The Sky Pirate has many imaginative aspects, including the idea of humans being abducted by aliens plucked off the Earth back in the 1800s. The talking mechanical parrot who can whip a gun out of an adversary's hand, and the alien forecasting machine that can project the thoughts one has about future actions, which I guess is similar to Minority Report. Writer Terry Wilbur even does a bit of forecasting towards Star Trek. Still 8 months away, John Robinson asks Tucker what happens when he hits a particular button on the control panel on his ship. Tucker answers, well, she starts to shaking and a quivering, and you started shaking and a quivering. Inside, that is, like you've been eating too many green apples or something. And all of a sudden, the ship just goes zoop, and the stars go out. They come back on when you reach where you're going. And Don says, a starship. Robinson says, a hyperspace drive. Don says, faster than light. Robinson says, measure speed. It ain't big. It measures speed in parsecs. Tucker, this ship could return us to Earth in a matter of seconds. Tucker, it ain't big enough. Don, we could shuttle back and forth. The best brains on Earth could dismantle it and learn the secrets of its drive. We could have starships that would explore the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Robinson, the universe. How about it, Tucker? The comedy in this episode also works, namely the aforementioned fainting spells by Smith. As silly as these scenes are, and while they do a bit of forecasting in their own way, giving us a preview of the second season, the running gag is nonetheless funny. The crowning moment, Tucker giving the fainted Smith a pitiful look and saying, poor fella ought to do something about his nerves. The script, written by Corey Wilbur, who wrote the treatment, the first draft, and the second draft, and it was Tony Wilson helped fine-tune the script. I don't see anything about Irwin Allen liking. This was Kerry Wilbur's third writing assignment for Lost in Space. His first was adapting Shyman Winselberg's story for There Were Giants in the Earth into a teleplay, for which he wrote 2 drafts. Next, he wrote Curious Galactics, for which he wrote a treatment and 3 drafts of a teleplay before the story was abandoned. Wilbur was then asked to write a story about a space pirate. And Wilbur told interviewer James Van Hise, that was about the time we started playing Dr. Smith as other than a straight villain and gave him the comedy bits. He became a funny character, and he was the kind of guy who would say that you and he fight, I'll hold the coats. I guess you could say I was the first writer to play Smith that way in the script, and Tony and Irwin both seemed to like it. I was kind of basing him on a character I used to do on the old Captain video series, which I'd written for. Tony Wilson was an absolutely wonderful guy, and with Irwin Allen producing, he gave the writers so much leeway, it was really delightful to work on the show. Perhaps too much leeway. Fortunately, other than screaming when he first sees Tucker and the fainting gag, Smith recovers his composure, and during the last half of the Space Pirate is more like the Smith we knew from earlier episodes. So, all right, blah, blah, I don't want to go on too much. So let me share. I know everybody, I want to thank Jill for the absolutely fantastic slides we have tonight. Without her,
You're welcome.
we would not have it's my pleasure, Jill. Believe me, definitely my pleasure. Without these slides, this wouldn't be such a fantastic stream and make it so enjoyable. You do a great job at doing those, so I really appreciate it. I owe everything to you.
Here, let's catch up on chat right before we get started on here.
Can you do that for me so I can give my voice a rest? Thank you, Gorilla.
Yep. TVB says, sounds like you're doing better, Pops.
I am. My voice is better. Yes, I'm gaining strength. Thank you.
Yeah. And here's Germ's channel for He's gonna start doing reviews. And yeah, Saturday morning cartoons and a couple new shorts coming out. Cool. Jill,
Very
can you
cool.
read?
Check it out, everybody.
Jill, Matt G.
President
And I
of Jill Antiderivative Jill fan club. Good to see you, Matt G.
and I see the us others have been forgotten. Mike, hello, Matt G. Hello.
I don't mind. I don't mind being and the rest.
Yeah, and Matt. Well, we'll just have Bob Denver fix that.
Okay, yeah, we'll have Bob Denver fix it. I'll go find his grave and dig him up.
Yeah. Hey, I've heard of crazier stuff. So,
Yeah, you're
Matt,
right.
hello. And Herc says, Matt G, how are you doing? Matt says, good, you? Oh, Herc says, Rocky Railon trying to beat this heat. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're at 110 degrees right now with the humidity. The heat index is 110 to 115.
Well, I'm used to that from California. I'm so glad I'm out of that now.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be so bad if it's a dry heat, but you get that humidity. Like I just stepped outside to see my kid off.
Uh huh.
It's like I was starting to form a swamp.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I was in the South. It's definitely miserable and not very fun.
Yeah, then man, she said, sorry to hear about that, Herc. And then Mikey says, IMDb said that Alan and Wilbur co-wrote Pop. I took it from their info. Okay, so
That's fine.
yeah, IMDb is usually pretty reliable. And Matchy says, let us know when you get
Sometimes.
back, LOL. Uh,
Sometimes it's written by people like us, fans, and sometimes there could be mistakes, just like Wikipedia.
oh, I thought that was an actual. I didn't think that was actually co-written by fans. I thought
Yeah,
Wiki.
if I had to choose, I would choose this book over IMDb probably.
Yeah, me too. Well, IMDb, the main problem is they don't expect you to put the sources of any of the trivia, so you don't have to put where you got the idea from. So it could just be a hearsay.
True.
Okay, that's all of them.
Could be true too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
So,
as we're doing this review here, I'm gonna start making a machine so I can go into the show and just start smacking the crap out of Doctor Smith there.
And honestly, actually, to that point, you don't know how many times Gene Roddenberry had his hand in scripts and never gets credit for it. He just does it because it's his baby, and so it could be a similar thing there.
well, from what I read, which seems to be usually the case, Irwin Allen, he's the producer, but he doesn't usually write, but he'll send notes in and corrections of things that he'll see in the script, things that he agrees or disagrees with.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that seems to be the case here as well, which I'll be reading some of that here as we go along. So here we're recapping from last week's episode, the end of the Keeper Part 2. I'm going to make this so I can see a little bit better. Okay,
I'll
so
be advancing the slides, but I can't participate for a little bit because I have to read my daughter a book. She's
that's
asking for a
okay.
book.
That's totally fine. So here's where they're out, and because, which we'll recap from last week, is the night before they saw that a ship had landed, and now they're investigating to see where it's at. And here's where they come across this ship here. And this is, as I mentioned earlier in the book, that the ship appears to be a lot larger on the inside than it is the outside. So at this point, it's an alien vessel. They don't know where it's from or who could have been inside of it. So Don and Professor Robinson are on their guard, and Professor Robinson and tells Will and Dr. Smith to stay behind while they go investigate the ship, which is what they do. They go inside. And I know I've seen this interior before and probably see it again. It looks like the same interior from the episode, maybe the raft. And I know this prop has been used on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, among other shows that are produced by Irwin Allen. And Professor Robinson notices a hammock that has English words in it, so that gives us a hint that it's somewhat Earth-based. Even though there is, as we can see, alien language on there, there's also English. So, and it's a hammock, like I said. So apparently, whoever's on this ship is now not on the ship, but they're somewhere on the planet, and they're probably human or from Earth, possibly. And the door closes shut, locking them inside. And they, of course, cannot figure out how to open it up. And of course, Dr. Smith is saying that he's cold and he wanted to hide behind the rocks. So that's why Will says, when Dr. Smith is just being a coward, of course, because he doesn't know what's in the ship. So he, as a ruse, is acting like he's exercising and warming up. And Will is bored, and Will heads back to the alien craft. And Dr. Smith is surprised by this, which is guest star Albert Salmi as the space pirate, aka A.P. Tucker, the name that is on the hammock. And he startles Dr. Smith, and Dr. Smith's best way of defense, of course, is just to pass out, as they mentioned in the book here. It's a little comedic because Dr. Smith has definitely seen worse, but apparently he finds this a little overwhelming.
Yeah. So would you describe him as a fainting goat?
Possibly, right. I would say kind of. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, this character here is heavily modeled on Treasure Island, Robert Louis Stevenson's book Treasure Island, with Long John Silver, even down to the bird. And Long John Silver had a parrot on his shoulder, but here we have a mechanical bird there, which kind of reminds me of Bebo from Clash of the Titans. So, of course, he startles Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith passes out. Now we get our opening intro. And we find out that he's not quite as deadly as he leads. At least we're getting there. Will Smith is on guard, of course. I'm sorry, Will Robinson is on guard with the rifle. And I want to point out something about this laser gun. If you look at the barrel, you'll see it's capped. It doesn't have a hole in the front. So what this was a prop. They had two different kinds of props. They had a prop that they would use to fire that had a light bulb at the end. We mentioned it before in previous episodes, kind of like a flashlight. And when they would pull the trigger, the light bulb on the end would light up, giving the special effects department the signal of when to add the laser effect, which is usually, it's like a hero prop is what they call it. The main one is called a hero prop. And this would be a secondary one that does not have the light bulb on the end, because they know they have no intention of firing it for this scene. I hope I didn't give away too many spoilers. Go ahead, Gorilla.
Now I got a question. How come they're very hesitant to show the women carrying guns on the show? How come they let Will Robinson carry one, like in this episode?
Well, we covered that during the episodes, there were giants in the earth. When Will Robinson handled the rifle and the gun, because the networks were able to handle it back then, because they just didn't want weapons in the hands of females. Unfortunately, that was the way things were written back in the 1960s. They want to show weapons in the hands of the women. They would show like Maureen Robinson walking around with the weapon in her holster on her hip, but you wouldn't see her draw a gun or let alone fire a gun. And we kind of brought that up with Star Trek TOS as well. But back then, I guess, with sensors and everything, they thought it was okay to show a boy shooting it. So Will Robinson points the gun. Sorry, go ahead.
I just said okay.
Will Robinson points the gun at the space pirate, and the space pirate tells him, "You don't think old Tucker's going to hurt you, do you?" And I have to admit, with what the book says, his performance here is way over the top as the pirate. And he uses the bird, which I think is called Nick, which has the power to grab the gun out of Will's hand and retrieve it. So now the pirate has the gun. And he says appearances to the mind are of four kinds, he tells Will. So basically he's calming down Will, letting Will know he's not quite as dangerous, but that he definitely needs help from the Robinsons. And Will's asking him about the mechanical bird on his shoulder. And he's explaining to him exactly what it is. And it has the power of teleportation. That's how it was able to retrieve the gun from Will's hands. And of course, in a comedic bit here, he also argues with the bird, and it argues back somewhat at some point. We see the bird mostly on his shoulder throughout the episode, except for like there, he tries to swat it so it disappears and appears on a rock. But then once he apologizes to the bird, it will come back and reappear back on his shoulder. How are we doing on the chat, Gorilla? I don't want to get too far.
We're all caught up.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. Now, it's kind of curious there with that bird just being able to teleport out away from him. Seemed a little too advanced.
Well, I think that okay, I know we haven't quite gotten there yet, but I'm guessing that according to Tucker, what he says, which he will later on, is that he's from Earth and he was abducted in the 1800s. But the aliens that abducted him were taken all over the place. So I'm guessing he may have gotten that bird from somewhere else. And that's why it's more advanced than he is.
Okay.
So he tells Will that where things aren't at all what they appear to be. So he's kind of giving Will an idea of where he came from. And kind of giving him an explanation about the bird.
Hey, Mikey here says Tucker escaped from a race called the Tellurians.
Yes. They were the ones that supposed... Yeah, right, because we're getting ahead of ourselves. They haven't really gotten that far yet. But we'll talk about that when we get to that scene.
Alrighty.
And now is where he's chastising Smith because Smith is basically posing like he's unconscious. And as soon as he... and by the way, I think I could be wrong, but this may be the first episode where they introduced Dr. Smith's first name as Zachary.
No, we've had it mentioned before.
Yeah, we've known his first name. We just don't address him as it, except for himself.
Oops. Red alert, red alert.
Want me to play it? Oh, we lost Pop there now.
Sorry. Basically, Dr. Smith is playing like a Klingon in New Trek, where he's a coward and he's acting like he's dead. And when Will Smith, this is kind of funny, Will Robinson, when the pirate asked him who's that on the ground, he says that's Dr. Zachary Smith. And then the pirate says, old Zach. And Dr. Smith takes that into offense. He does not like being called Zach. Indeed. And then that's when he stands up. And he even says, you're going to be a lot, well, if you don't give me the answer. So he's telling them that basically his ship is damaged and he's going to need help getting it repaired so he can leave. And he's asking Will and Dr. Smith what planet is it, where are they? And they tell him they don't know, and he doesn't believe him at first. And Will says he's telling the truth. We don't know where we are.
But we found out just recently when he went to Earth that they call the planet Free Planet. So he doesn't.
I was wondering that. Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know right exactly. The thing is, to be specific, or they may not know where they are or where their planet is located, but they need to give it a name called Free Planets. And I'm surprised they didn't bring that up again.
They didn't like that name after all. Do they never mention that ever again?
I don't think they do.
Well, maybe they got better coke in the writers' room and they decided that was a dumb name.
Yeah, I think it may have been just. If I remember the writer, I think Return to Earth was maybe written by Peter Packer. So maybe it just depends on whoever writer wrote that particular episode, and they just happen to not use it again. And I like this where the pirate tells Will to go to the ship, to the Jupiter 2 that is, and to get cigars and cheese. And then later on we'll see him with the box of cigars, and I'm thinking they actually have a box of cigars aboard the Jupiter 2.
Yeah, he got his cigars and his cheese. He got what he wanted.
Just a sec. PvP, I do not see you backstage. And welcome. And Mikey here says welcome back, Jill.
PvP, try it again.
Yeah, and he says hi backstage. Oh my gosh, PvP, I hope you're all right, buddy. Says Mikey, and Mikey says, PvP's backstage, fellow panelists. Yep, we're all caught up on chat. I'll keep an eye out for PvP here.
Appreciate it. Thank you. There he is.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh my
Hey,
goodness. What a 24 hours I've had, guys. As if falling and hitting my head wasn't bad enough last night and spending an hour at the hospital. Now my damned internet decided to go out like about 45 minutes ago. just as my boss
Oh,
just as my boss brought my work computer over and tried to hook it up, and she's like, "Oh, there's no internet." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's been doing that lately."
so
It's just,
your boss does the work. I mean, I'm surprised she doesn't have like a tech
oh, I got a
partner, a
great
tech
boss.
person.
I have a lovely boss.
Yeah, but she doesn't have like a tech person that does that stuff.
They do have tech people, but let's put it this way. My boss is a hands-on kind of lady, so she kind of likes to oversee everything that she can, and
Okay.
she's incredibly smart. Like,
Well,
I,
plus
I
it saves on labor.
well, she seems to know everything about everything. She's one of those kind of people. I don't know how she's acquired this knowledge in 40 years, but she seems to have. So she's a very, very smart lady. I have great respect for her. You know,
Very cool.
she's very smart.
So you're
Anyway,
going to
I'm
be
glad I
working.
can make it.
Yeah, so are we. We're glad to see you, PvP.
Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. Suddenly, my internet, it died like shortly after 7 o'clock, and now a couple of minutes ago, it suddenly came back on again. Thank goodness.
yeah,
So,
yeah, we were wondering if that was your town that had to get evacuated, that 200,000 people town that had to get
oh,
evacuated.
you're talking about West Kelowna, which is across the lake from me.
Oh,
See,
so you can be next.
I'm in Kelowna, and then there's West Kelowna, which we used to call West Bank, which is on the other side of Okanagan Lake, right? So there's a lot of water between those fires over there and me, so I'm not too
Yeah.
worried about that. But
Yeah, well, the newspaper just said, or New York Times just said Kelowna. So,
well, they're probably not too familiar with our area, I'm guessing. But yeah, there is, I think, some fires up on one of the hillsides around Kelowna here, though, actually, because when I was driving home from work on Thursday night, there was a glow in the sky, like purple, red, orange. I've never seen clouds that look like that. It was kind of mind-boggling, to be honest. It was pretty scary. So there's probably fires around on some of the hillsides here. I wouldn't be surprised. But so far, I seem to be safe. So.
Well,
I'm in
hopefully
the middle.
hurricane.
I'm in the middle of the city though, so I'm not too worried, right? So
Hopefully the hurricane Hillary will make his way up there and douse some of those fires.
It'd
uh
be great if you got some rain.
yeah, well, I wish. I looked at the weekly forecast a couple days ago, and it's going to be like high 20s Celsius for the next week. So, and no sign of rain. So I think we're out of luck, Jill.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh well. Yeah, I'll survive. I always do.
Yeah, just be careful there. And I guess it's a good thing, though. Are you happy you're going to be working from home for a while?
Oh, it's going to be such a major relief. I didn't tell you guys that I almost died in a traffic accident like a month ago.
yeah, he did. I
I
remember
did.
some truck blew a red light.
Some jackass blew a red light, and I missed him by like 4 feet, or I would have like totally T-boned the guy, right? Oh, it was very scary.
Hey, you
Yeah.
could have gotten a new car out of the deal.
They probably should have just written my car off and given me like a check for $1,000.
Yeah, the problem is, right, Dave, the problem is they'll pay you what they figure the value of the car is, which is not necessarily enough to buy you another car.
Well, that's the problem. My car is like 1993, so it's 30 years old, and it's got a book value of I think around $1,000. So, yeah,
Right,
good
which
luck. Good
right.
luck on me. Yeah, I'm not going to buy a new car with that, am
That's not even barely a down payment, right?
I? Exactly. Yeah, I'd probably get a secondhand junker that wouldn't be as good as the car I have now. So yeah.
And unfortunately for 1,000 it'd be American made, which makes it even worse.
Okay. No comment there, but
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't get like a Toyota or a Honda or anything like that for $1,000.
no. Okay, they're actually better made cars, are they? The
It's a
Japanese
big.
ones?
Americans make the worst cars in the world. It's a
I
fact.
always
Really?
get a Honda.
Jeez,
Right.
I
Just check
remember.
consumer. If there's anybody out there, if you guys are listening, if you don't believe me, check Consumer Reports. They've been monitoring
Okay.
cars for many years, for many decades. They've been monitoring cars, and Americans make the worst cars in the world. And at the bottom of that list is Ford.
Really?
So the absolute
Didn't
worst automaker is Ford.
didn't Detroit used to be like number one though, like 50 years ago or something?
Decades ago, yeah, but you're talking that
Yeah.
all changed in the 70s. In
Well,
the
everything.
70s is when they went down.
Yeah. Well, I remember cars in the 60s, even in the 70s, they were beautiful, right? The designers had really great imaginations back then, and there were some beautiful, beautiful. I mean, the cars were like artwork back then, right? They were so
Well, they
gorgeous.
were also as big as houses in the 70s.
Yeah, but they all
The,
looked
the
like.
problem the problem was when they had the oil embargo thanks to President Carter,
Oh, I
and
remember this.
oil price or gas prices
Yeah,
went up.
the
Gas
70s,
price
the 70s gas crisis. I think you're talking about, right, Pomp?
Right, gas prices skyrocketed, and then
Yeah,
what happened was people started buying Japanese cars like Datsun and
and people were lining up
Toyota.
for hours to get gas, if I
Right,
remember
and
correctly. Yeah.
American made. That's when people stopped buying American made cars, and the American auto manufacturers quickly
Hmm.
shifted and started making their cars cheaper, lighter, and smaller. And then that's when the quality dipped and went way down. And it's never quite recovered.
Yeah, well, they're all modern cars just look like crap to me. They all look the
Well,
same.
they're all plastic. They're
They're
all
little
like,
tiny plastic boxes, basically.
and it
Yeah,
looks like they all
exactly.
came out of this. Most of them came out of the same mold. It looks like they meant. Doesn't matter who the manufacturer is. I could have a Toyota, a Honda, and it's gonna look
Exactly.
like a Chevy. And
They
Here,
look
should
like they look like they were designed by an AI.
we catch up on chat real quick?
Yeah, I'll shut up
yes,
now.
yes, thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. There we are. And Scurvy says, "Hi, PPP here.
Hey, Lemon.
Here's my channel for shorts, Walton's reviews, and watch parties. And that." And Scurvy says, "Want something done right? Do it yourself. Sounds like your boss's philosophy, PvP."
She is a do-it-yourself kind of gal.
Yeah. And Mikey says, "PvP. So glad that the fires haven't reached you, brother."
No, I'm pretty much in the middle of the city, so there's nothing much around here that could burn. It's all like concrete and asphalt, so I think I'm probably fine. If I was living up a few miles away in the hillsides, though, I'd be very, very. Actually, my boss mentioned she is on actually evacuation alert, so she could get a notice at any time to just bail out of her home and go into a hotel or wherever, right? So, yeah, it's pretty scary. It really is.
Yeah. And welcome, Suzanne Eckstein there. Hey there, Pop. How are you doing today?
Hey,
Hello.
Suzanne.
Hello, Suzanne. Doing good, thank you. Good to see you. Glad you could be here with us.
Yeah.
Hi,
I enjoy.
Suzanne.
I do enjoy flirting with Suzanne once in a while.
Yeah. And Suzanne
Even though
says,
she may not enjoy it.
yeah. Suzanne says, "Scurvy, hiya." And Suzanne says, "Hi, Mikey, hello." And Mikey says, "OPEC effectively killed the America's auto industry."
Yeah, OPEC, that was it. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, it said
Well,
the oil.
the whole crisis was fabricated, just like a certain virus. I'll put it
Well,
that way.
they're like any cartel, right? If they control the resource, they can jack the price up. So, yeah.
Yeah, so
Is that it, Gorilla?
Mikey says, "Hello, Miss Susan." And Susan says, "PvP, hello. Here is the underground for just hanging out, need IT help and stuff." And Boomer says hello to Suzanne, and Suzanne says, "PvP, my family is in West
Really?
Killalone."
West Kelowna. It's pronounced Kelowna. It's actually an indigenous word. I think it means the settlement by the lake. Because we have actually the Okanagan Valley is named after the Okanagan tribe, which I guess were the indigenous folks around here at one time.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of local history for you guys.
And Susan, top here with the broken camera symbol, that is Gorilla Random Thoughts. Then with the rock and roll symbol right below that is Pleasant Valley Picker CA. Then this Vulcan looking lady here, our only female panelist, and she
Going
decided
away.
to paint it on us here. That's Antiderivative Jill. There, she can explain her name if you really want. And then the bottom covered up is Pop Culture Curator.
Yep, that's me down there.
And Scurvy says, "Hey, there's Susan." And Mikey says, hope they're all right, Suzanne Eckstein. Prayers
Yeah,
up.
that's very scary, scary, Suzanne. Actually, because West Kelowna, man, I remember like a couple nights ago, I drove over to the grocery store after dark, and I looked over on the west side, mountains, and it was just all in flames, like bright fire everywhere. It was very, very scary. So there's actually, I think the number was 4,800 properties are on evacuation alert over there now. So that's pretty serious stuff, right? That's a
Yeah,
lot of
hopefully.
folks.
Yeah, hopefully
So
not a
yeah,
lot of people were hurt or killed.
that's why I'm working from home. My boss just said, I got to have you guys, everyone take their computer home, and if need be, if you're in danger, we'll have to relocate you to another location, right? So that's her thinking, I guess. So you know,
So, in other words, you're gonna be working even if we have to keep moving you from place to place to place.
I guess I don't think I'll have to move. As I say, I'm pretty much in the middle of town, and there's miles of concrete around me, so I can't see anything catching fire around here, to be honest. So
Yep,
All
I
you have
feel
to worry about
I feel
is
safe.
power outage. Yeah, all you have to worry about is power outages and internet outage.
Yeah, and internet, just like I experienced, like 20 minutes ago, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's annoying because that's the fourth time it's happened in 2 months. And my internet was always reliable until bloody Rogers Cable bought out Shaw Cable 2 months ago. And now I'm getting these bloody outages all the time. So
What a pain.
it's annoying, especially if I got to work, right?
Yep.
Oh, well, I'll just muddle through it as I always do.
Okay, is that it for the chat, Gorilla?
Any more chat?
Thank you. Let me step
I miss,
Oh,
away.
yeah,
I
it
miss,
keeps getting. Oh.
I miss your avatar of your handsome self there, Gorilla.
What?
There you go.
Of me flipping you off? Me
That's
flipping you off?
better.
PvP?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
that's much
I
better.
really should change that there.
We like to see your handsome self.
Here. Just so, since it's lost its space here, we'll go with the sunglasses and coconut.
Oh, that's a good one. I do like that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Suzanne says, Gorilla, Jill, PvP, pop. And Suzanne says, PvP, West Kelowna is gone.
What? Uh-oh. I haven't listened to the news today. Really? Is it really that bad?
I'll,
Wow.
I'll, I'll fact check here in a minute. And
Shit.
Michael says, sorry, Suzanne.
That sounds
Yeah,
scary.
Suzanne says, I just need the stupid cops to answer the phone so I can get info on the family. Well, there's 200,000 people there. Their phone lines are probably tied up.
Yeah, I'm guessing so many people are making calls everywhere that the phone lines are tied up, and that's probably why you can't get through.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm
yeah,
feeling. Well, I don't know if I'm ever feeling fine in the head. I'm feeling fine on the head. If that's your question. Boy, you wouldn't believe the rug rash I got on my forehead though when I fell last night. It's like I looked in the mirror this morning when I got up, and it was not a pretty sight. I gotta say.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I got this terrible red rug burn all down on my forehead and down the side of one side of my face. So
okay,
I'm lucky I didn't get a concussion. I really am.
yeah.
Yeah, that is lucky. You were really slurring last night, so it was a little
Yeah,
concerning.
well, yeah. I guess I had a few more after I got. I had a few after I got back from the hospital because you know sometimes when you go through an experience like that, you just want to kind of forget about it and have a few, which I'm always too fond of doing, I suppose. Actually,
Yeah,
so.
I can't have any for a while time because apparently you'll die if you drink while on Benadryl.
Oh, you're on Benadryl?
Yeah, self medicating.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Suzanne says fire jumped the lake. Oh, Mikey said
Did
Yellowknife
it? Oh
near
shit!
also got PvP due to fires.
I heard about the Yellowknife situation about a week ago. Yeah, it's so bad there. They're flying people out, taking them down to Calgary to put them up there to keep them safe because it was so bad in Yellowknife. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
terrible news. I'm so sorry. I hope your family's all right, Suzanne.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Pray
hope
for the
so,
best.
Suzanne.
Pray for the best.
Yeah,
Then
Suzanne, please keep in touch with us and let us
Yeah,
know.
let us know, Suzanne.
Our prayers are
he said,
with you.
"Yeah, I've been trying for days, no luck." And
Yeah,
Mikey,
those,
yes,
those damn fires are scary. Like, well, I guess it's like California, right, Pop? I mean,
Yeah.
you used to live there, and the California
Uh huh.
fires were god awful most years, right? So
It's like it was every summer you could plan on it and you could set your watch by it.
yeah, exactly.
But in California, they were intentional. That's the difference.
No shit, my phone's ringing. Oh, is that my boss? I hope it's not my boss. Give me a minute,
Okay.
guys.
All right. So here's where we have with the pirate is sending Will to the Jupiter 2 to retrieve some cigars and cheese. So apparently he's a little light on rations inside of his ship. And of course, Dr. Smith volunteers that maybe he should go because obviously Dr. Smith is not comfortable around the presence of this pirate and wants to distance himself as soon as possible. So he recommends that maybe he should be the one to go and ask the Robinsons for the cheese and the cigars. And the pirate, I guess I can call him Tucker now that they've already established his name. So Tucker says okay, and he says it's all right. So he lets Dr. Smith go to retrieve the items from the Jupiter 2.
Yeah, this isn't the first time that Dr. Smith has put Will in danger in place of him.
Exactly right. And what's odd is, of course, they don't show any of the interaction with Dr. Smith asking them for the cheese and cigars. It just jumps and it shows Tucker with the cheese and the cigars. So we're guessing that it went fairly well. I thought it was kind of odd, almost like a hole in the plot, because you would think there'd be a scene where the family is panicking because Will has been abducted. So this is where Dr. Smith informs the robot that there's a man over there that has Will, and he tells the robot to go over there and destroy that man.
Kind of concerning how easily you can turn off his Isaac Asimov chips.
Very easily, right?
Yeah, they say not to worry about AI.
Right, because that's the first thing the robot says, that's the prime directive is not to harm anybody. And Dr. Smith says, basically, never mind that. And robot says, okay.
Okay, there was no ceremony or anything.
Right, no reprogramming. And here we have the robot on patrol here. He's going to zap towards the pirate. Of course, they die behind a rock. And Tucker whistles, which apparently the tone of the whistle somehow deactivates the robot and pulls the power pack. And Will seems surprised by this.
Well, I thought it was the parrot. It was the parrot who got the power pack.
Thank you. Did Tucker whistle, or was it the bird that whistled? Or did Tucker whistle at the bird?
I think it was a whistle. Yeah, he did whistle, but I guess maybe it was a command to get whatever, get the thing that's important on that robot. Because obviously the pirate doesn't know anything about the robot.
And the pirate doesn't have the power to pull that power pack.
Right. Yeah, it's this bird that has some kind of telekinesis. Or I have no idea what kind of power this is.
Yeah, they don't really define it in too much detail. Meanwhile, back at Tucker's ship, later on that evening, and it looks like we still have Professor Robinson and Don trying to figure out how to escape that ship.
Just press a few buttons.
I know what I thought. That's kind of, I was like, oh, okay, that's a little kind of hard to believe that they've been in this ship for hours trying to figure out how to get out of there. And Professor Robinson tells Don just try different buttons. And finally, notice they don't even show them trying to turn that handle on the door.
Huh?
Well, it would have worked better if they had like a number pad and they had to get the right combination. Then it would make more sense that it would take a while to figure it out.
Yes, I completely agree.
Or maybe, and then they just get lucky.
So they managed to get their way out of Tucker's ship. And now we have where Tucker and Will, it looks like they set up a campsite. Tucker's eating his cheese, and over to the right of Tucker, you can see the box of cigars. And then he got from the Jupiter 2, and I'm wondering whose cigars were they? Were they Marines? I don't know. So I don't know.
Probably Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith cigars.
We don't ever see anybody smoking.
No, exactly. That's just it. We don't see anybody smoking, but they happen to have cigars. A whole entire box right there.
All right, everybody in the chat, who do you think the cigars belong to?
Cindy?
Maybe they're
Me.
celebratory cigars for when they got to Alpha Centauri.
Oh, to celebrate?
Yeah,
I would say, if anything, they would have champagne for that, but I don't know.
but you can't have champagne without cigars.
Well, back then, yes, cigars were celebratory. Like when, obviously, like in maternity wards, it's an old trope where you would see the father passing out cigars when he found out that he had a child. But I don't believe they do that anymore these days.
Oh, they won't allow those things even in the building.
No, now they're considered contraband. In fact, like when I go to the hospital, it hasn't happened to the hospital here. But when I went to the hospital in California, the metal detector, open up your bags, what do you got, everything. So yeah, definitely not allowed anything like that. Oh, I don't like the way they've taken away our rights. And now's where he's telling him, Will's asking him if he's a pirate, if he's a good pirate or a bad pirate. And he's telling Will that, have you heard of the story of Robin Hood? So Will says, so you steal from the rich and give to the poor? And he says, well, yes, he does. But of course, he has not met anybody yet that he's going to give his treasure to. And he said that he's holding on to it until he finds somebody who's really very, very, very poor. Real downright dirt poor, he says. Excuses, of course.
Well, it's pretty cool. We have an antagonist who seems to be influenced by the goodness of Will Robinson.
Yes, he does. He seems to take a liking to Will pretty quickly. Will doesn't seem to be too stressed the fact that he's been kidnapped and that his family's worried about him. And his family's taking it relatively easy.
Hey, what's the name of this actor?
Albert Salmi.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Will's really ready to just run away from home and be a pirate.
Well, and I don't.
Well,
it's
I
kind of
guess
wholesome.
when you're 13, I guess a lot of boys have those fantasies, do they not, Jill?
Like running away to the circus and everything.
Join the circus, yeah, exactly.
Well,
Albert Salmi, yeah, I knew I recognized his face. Thanks,
and
Bob.
Treasure Island was still relatively popular in pop culture at the time because the movie came out in 1950.
Does him acting like he's from Treasure Island have to do with the way he's walking?
Yeah, bull-legged.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Right. If you ever see the movie, I'm talking about the original. There's been so many versions, but if you watch the original 1950 version, the way he's talking, the way he's walking. Another thing too, I want to mention is R and I and stuff like that. Pirates didn't really talk like that. That was all fictitious.
Yeah, that makes sense because that would be completely inefficient to be adding all of these extra syllables for no reason.
Exactly. That was all created by the actor who played Long John Silver in Treasure Island. So the reason why I'm mentioning that, it's like Dracula now. Whenever when pictures Dracula, Bela Lugosi with his Hungarian accent, I'm going to suck your blood. And that's what a lot of people think of that when they think of Dracula. And that's because of the one actor. Well, it was the same thing with Treasure Island. The guy who played Long John Silver started that, the drawl where it's like, arg, arg, matey, and that kind of stuff. And ever since then, it's now gone into lore and pop culture where that's the first thing people do when they are trying to act like being a pirate. When they dress like being a pirate, you go to a costume party and people are dressed like a pirate. Everybody does that. But subconsciously, they don't know where it was really based, and that was
and even if you do know it, then you still have fun with it because that's the culture.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. Like you guys have heard of Talk Like a Pirate Day? probably.
Yes, I was going to mention that actually.
Yeah,
So well done.
when I was actually at the community resources taking my upgrade course to get my job that I got a few months later, there was talk like a pirate day, so I went in. There's like half a dozen really cool people there. They all had a class together, and I was like, "Arr, arr!" It was great fun. Everybody had a huge laugh out of it, right? Because I was being just silly, but it was fun. Arr, matey.
Right. Apparently, it seems that it was invented by the character Long John Silver, played by the actor Robert Newton in the pirate adventure Treasure Island from 1950. Newton
Hmm,
reputedly based his style on an exaggeration of his native Southwest England accent.
really? Wow. I learned something today.
So there you go, kids. If you ever wonder where that came from, there you go.
I do kind of like pirate talk, even if it is fake, though. It's kind of fun.
And I wanted to mention here really quick. On December 19th, 1965, concerning Wilbur's second draft teleplay, Irwin Allen wrote to Tony Wilson saying, page 2, section 9, John's first speech, change shut up Smith to something else like be quiet or that's enough. So I think that was a smart move by Irwin Allen because shut up is definitely not polite. I remember when I was in elementary school, our teacher broke us to that because she said, "Don't say liar and don't say shut up." I remember it was what my elementary teachers would say.
Gee, back in the day when manners were important.
I know because you hear it all the time now,
Oh
and I,
God, I hear
and I
too
think
many
it's very
things.
and right and another phrase that people tend to use. They think it's polite, but I think it's just as rude as shut up, and that is when someone says stop talking. I do not like that. I
Yeah,
absolutely loathe it when somebody says that because when you call them on it, they say, "Well, that's a nice way of saying." No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just as bad as saying "shut up."
yeah, it's rude. I agree. Yeah.
There's a
Hey,
crisis. I gotta be right back.
Uh
go
oh.
put it. Go. Jill's got a fire of her own to put out.
Kid,
That
kid,
sound
a kitty crisis.
that sounded like someone needs a butt whooping scream.
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say that.
Hmm.
Page 2, section 9. Oops, sorry, I read that. Where he says, change "shut up, Smith" to something else like "be quiet" or "that's enough." Penny and Judy are less than bit parts in this script. In fact, Penny gets no lines whatsoever. Shouldn't something be made of the parrot? Nick is the name of the parrot, Nik. No one but Will ever remarks about it. And does Tucker have the nick on his shoulder every time he is seen? These are questions about Irvin Allen sending him down to the scriptwriter. Allen would never get more of Penny and Judy in the script. A mere cameo from both Angela Cartwright and Marta Crescent at the conclusion of the episode is all we see. However, Wilson would make more of the nick, and the revised script clarified that the nick would not always be on Tucker's shoulder, only when Tucker wished him to be. The script timed out long, and two scenes had to be cut. This is regretful because one of those scenes would have helped explain why the idea of using Tucker's ship to shuttle the family back to Earth had been dropped. Even how Tucker came to land on this particular planet.
Yeah.
How we doing
Should
on
we,
the chat, Gorilla?
yeah, should we catch up on the chat?
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, where were we here? Ooh, we had a few popped up here. So Susan says, "Thanks, Joe. My family is fighters and tough. I'm sure they're fine." Well, I'm pretty sure they're smart enough to heed the evacuation orders.
Hopefully,
They're
right.
sounds like
Yeah, I'm sure if they did get an order to evacuate Suzanne, they would have probably moved out safely. So I wouldn't worry too much.
yeah. Mikey said, and of course, prayers for the Maui families and victims.
Yeah, that's bad over there, isn't it? Jeez,
That's the worst part. Yes.
Yeah,
unreal.
2,000 some structures, thousand
Oh,
some missing.
oh, that's horrible.
Yeah,
Wow.
they had to bring in the cadaver dogs just to even find the scrape of a bone.
Oh, jeez, I
And
didn't realize it was that bad. That's horrible, man.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
like that last I seen, 93 confirmed dead.
Wow, that's really awful.
Yeah, and OG says the metal bird reminds me of Clash of the Titans movie from the 80s.
Oh, the Ray
Yeah,
Harryhausen one.
Bobo. Yeah, Bobo.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Yeah,
I
it was
wonder
Yeah,
if
in there. It was an owl.
I wonder if it was inspired by the bird in this episode, though. Perhaps.
Well, this was inspired by Treasure Island, so if anything, maybe Cosmic Island's got it from Treasure
Yeah,
Island, right?
Harryhausen might have seen this episode, though, right? And maybe that gave him the idea for the owl.
Oh,
Is what I'm guessing.
it's very possible.
and yeah, and Mikey says yes, Oiler Greg. The bird was created by Merlin. And OG says cigar and cognac are a good combo. OG says
Cognac,
thanks, Mikey. Yeah, cognac.
cognac. There's no. It's not cognac. It's cognac.
Isn't that cognac or something?
No,
Cognac.
no.
I'm sure I
It
mispronounced it.
doesn't matter. It's not important.
I'm
Yeah,
tired.
and OG says yeah, thanks, Mikey, and Mikey says you're welcome. And Phantom Boom says arg.
That's more
And
pirate talk.
Mikey said Tucker wanted Will to become his first mate, Bootswing. And Mikey says, ahoy, mateys. DBB says, yar. Everyone is talk like a pirate day, matey. And Mikey says, "Arr, what are you doing, LOL?" And
Yeah,
this
this
is
is this is just as silly as having a cowboy from space, and it's a pirate space.
Hey,
It does remind me of that episode as well. Yes, I was thinking about that.
you
yeah,
guys, I was thinking exactly the same thing when I watched it this afternoon. It's like this is like the space cowboy. He's the space pirate. It was almost like the same character in a weird way, right?
maybe.
Very weird. Arr.
It was very similar. I thought to that space cowboy one. But
I'm a space
that's like what
cow.
episode 7 or something or a long time ago.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mikey says manners went away after the '80s, me decade.
Oh yeah, the me decade. I was not a big fan of when
Yeah,
things changed then.
and DVB says, "Good point. Our present day society is severely lacking the manners department."
And common sense.
And here's DVB's channel where you can get footage right from the heart of the wildfires. Yeah, I'm
Actually,
just kidding. He just has rock and roll.
actually, I should look up some of the wildfire footage while I'm on here.
Excuse
Come
me.
to think
Yeah.
of it.
And DVB says manners don't cost nothing. And Mikey says true, DVB, sadly. And this is why Phantom Boomer will survive the AI uprising, because he actually says hi to the AI. And stream out this is Greg's channel for spoiler free reviews on movies and stuff. And DVB says cigar and a waffle, smoking a pancake, bong and a blunt. And DVB says no. Well, then there is no pleasing you, Austin Powers. LOL. And DVB says, "Oh, so I accidentally about put him in timeout." And DVB says, "Sorry, wrong stream." LOL. All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you, Gorilla. So here's something. Of course, obviously, this is something they would definitely never ever do these days. You will never see it. Doesn't matter if it's a movie or a TV show. And don't do this at home, kids. But this is where the pirate tells Will that he needs. First, he tells Will he's going to tie him up so he doesn't escape. And Will says, "Well, do you have to?" Oops. Oh, I've got to. Sorry, I'm doing some work in the background here. I'm getting some pictures ready to send. But basically, Will says, "Do you have to?" And he says, "Well, if you don't want me to tie you up, then you have to take the pirate's oath." And by the pirate's oath, what he does is he pricks the end of a finger of each one of them to expose blood. And then they touch their fingers together to mix blood, which I'm sure a lot of people, younger generation, are like, "What? Are you crazy?" Because in this day and age, that's something that would definitely be unheard of. They would definitely never allow that.
Okay, it's like DVB is just
Right?
a wrong, but not nothing on purpose there. I I've only butt timed out people. Well, actually, front pocket, but that's a whole different story. But so don't worry about it, there, TVB.
Will's a very trusting soul, is he not?
I missed
I
the
would say
clip
so.
of the pirate praying. I'll be right back though.
Well, Will
Go for
reminds
it.
me of the kid that would fall for the free candy in a windowless white van trick.
I was kind of thinking that he's a little too innocent at times, isn't he? He'll just like befriend any weird person that lands on the planet. He's like, "Hey, I'll be your buddy."
Yeah.
This is a bit funny at times, but I guess it's just his nature, I guess.
Yeah, I
But
don't think
yeah,
they didn't want to spend a
I
lot of time establishing the character. I'm guessing.
I just think Will's a little bit too trusting at times, but I guess that the episode has to move along, so I guess that's why it happens. I imagine.
Yeah, it's these days. You know, through modern eyes, it's probably not appropriate. We figure, obviously,
Mm.
because of the don't talk to strangers. But this was back in the time where it wasn't quite that bad. You didn't have a lot of crazy people on the streets.
Yeah, it
We still
wasn't
had
that
sane
bad.
asylums. We used to lock people up like that. And
Yeah, it wasn't that
now people
bad.
like, right now people like that own Disney and big corporations. So unfortunately, we're in a very sad state.
Yeah, that was the weird thing back in the '60s. I would have been around Will's age back in the '60s, and it's like my buddies and I we'd get on our bicycles and ride around town all day long, and there was never any problems. Nobody would ever harass us, or it was really a
Nope.
much more innocent time. It really was. It really was.
Well, because they used to actually enforce the law back then. That's the difference between then and now.
I guess, yeah. I was too young to really
Yeah.
notice that, but but it was a golden age. It really was. I look back now on my youth and I think, wow, I'm so fortunate that I grew up in the '60s and '70s because it really was a golden age. Like, for culture and society and everything was pretty damn good back then, to be
It
honest.
was much more innocent. Yes.
Oh, it was a beautiful time. It really was.
So
I
here's
mean,
what this is. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, no, I was just going to say, there was a lot of turbulence and a lot of change. And of course, we had the Vietnam War happening, which actually some Canadians did volunteer and serve in, if you guys don't know that down there. Uh, but, there was a lot of bad things going on, of course, but there was so much good stuff happening, so much change to make society, more complex and more interesting. Like when the Beatles came in, right, in '62, they were singing "I Want to Hold Your Hand," and then by 1970, they're doing like Abbey Road, right? So it was a big decade of huge change that I remember, and it was fascinating to be alive in that time, and I'm so glad that I was. I feel really blessed, really blessed.
Yep. Things have changed.
Yeah, I feel sorry for young folks growing up today, to be honest, Bob. I mean, what do young people have today that they can
Social.
admire?
Unfortunately, they don't have anything to admire, and then they're all glued to social media. So it's actually a worst case scenario.
Yeah, really, eh?
Self
Well,
entitlement. They all have that self entitlement now.
self entitlement. Yeah, that's a word I really do hate, actually.
I know, but unfortunately, that's the people running the country. So they pass it down to their kids.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
this is the scene where it's time to go to bed, and we'll ask him, do pirates have to watch behind their ears and take orders from the sisters?
These are
And of
great
course,
lines.
I know, and the pirate says no. But this is what Jill was hinting at, which I love this scene here, is that Will, as he's getting ready for bed, asks the pirate if it's okay to pray, and the pirate says yes.
Why not?
And Will sits and pauses before he starts praying, and he looks at the pirate like, "Are you going to join me?" And the pirate does, which I really like that.
No, that's cool.
Another thing to appreciate that they would not have these days.
I guess I was too distracted waiting for my boss to bring the computer over today to really pick up the details when I watched this because I don't remember that bit, but that is very cool, actually.
It's wholesome, and it's not. I just think of all I have to compare it to is modern Trek, where everything is so nasty and spiteful. It's just
Uh,
I really like the way things were back then because they could show somebody preying on television on a show like this and not get a bunch of hate mail and people canceling each other out and going crazy.
well, the thing is, too, they did it in a more subtle way back then, right? Like everything
Well,
back
yeah,
then.
right. They don't mention any particular religion, for example.
Yeah, they weren't. They never hit. Well, it's like Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek, dealt with racism, politics, like A Taste of Armageddon, where two planets are annihilating each other through computer wars. I mean, so many interesting and incredible ideas, and yet somehow it never felt like we were getting hit over the head. We watched the episode and we could make up our own mind what it meant to us, right? So
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I can find something here to share with everybody while Jill is away. She'll be back
Oh yeah.
shortly.
Oh yeah, it's just still away.
I got some.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Gorilla. You got some chat. Go for it.
Yeah, I
for
got
it.
3 of them
Go for
here.
it. Go for it, girl.
And TVB here says, yeah, Pops, Mikey says, Will's naivety has gotten him into trouble in many future episodes. There, TVB says, yeah, Pops, you're right. Why don't they enforce the law anymore? Oh, that's a long story heading back to the Soviet Union there with their demoralization campaign with sleeper cells and that. I can't remember the defector's name, but he was talking about it. It was a whole 20, 30-year plan that the Soviets had.
Well, to be specific, the difference why is they don't enforce the laws, and I'll be specific, and no offense to anybody out there on your political affiliation, but it's to be specific, it's the Democratic grand states, it's Democrats. Those are the ones that aren't enforcing the laws. Those are the ones that treat the criminals like victims and the victims like criminals. And that's something we all know and we all realize. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. That all. Yeah, it's because of that. That's from the whole. I can't remember the guy's name. Dan Bongino mentions him quite a bit, but I can't.
They're socialists, and their whole idea is to tear the country apart.
Yeah, and DVB says so true, Pops. And Becky says yes, DVB. They're on their 3rd foul now. I have absolutely no idea what they're talking about.
He was talking about the baseball game, really. I think it was baseball.
Oh, he said the Beatles were better before Paul died, and they replaced him with a impersonator.
That's a long running theory that I remember hearing even back then. That Paul actually died in the '60s, and they got an impersonator.
No, it's
Personally,
not true.
I do not believe it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's not true.
And Mikey or DVB says, you know what I'm saying, Mikey Sue's for. All right, that's all our chat.
Appreciate it, Gorilla. Thank you.
Yep, no problem there.
That is a weird looking bird, I gotta say.
It is. I know it doesn't have a lot of mechanical articulation, but I like the design of it.
Yeah, it's very simple, but it's effective, right?
Mm-hmm. And this is what we were mentioning earlier, where Erwin Allen was asking if the bird is on Tucker's shoulder all the time. As we see here, it's not.
Mm.
Oh, I got the name of who was mentioning that. If you want more on it, it really does enough. Explains why everything's so screwed up nowadays, especially in these cities.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Actually,
So
how did they attach the bird onto his shoulder? Like,
I'm sure they probably just used safety pins or something like that. I doubt if it was anything elaborate. Because it seemed it seemed to flop around a lot.
Yeah,
okay. I bet you they just they just made a circle with the duct tape and threw it on the shoulder. That way
I don't think they used tape because they wanted to be able to remove it and put it back on without leaving residue. But the camera would pick up duct tape. That's why I was guessing maybe like safety pins or something like that. because obviously it probably only weighed a few ounces.
And
So
that would
here's where
explain why Will has a safety pin in his pocket.
right. Will just so happens to have a safety pin in his pocket,
So
and we
Will,
haven't. Sorry, go
Will
ahead.
so Will took a little keepsake from the parrot.
No, no, no. According to the episode here, Will already had it in his pocket, and
Oh,
the pirate said when they were doing the pirate's oath, "Do you have a needle or a pin or something?" And Will pulls it out of his pocket.
oh, okay. Boy, I must have really been half awake when I watched this one today. Damn.
And here's where
Ugh.
we have an alien probe, apparently that lands, and Tucker and Will take shelter behind a rock.
And Tucker was pretty frightened of this thing, was he not? If I remember correctly,
Right.
watching today.
This is
Yeah.
where Tucker starts to give us the hint that he's had
Yeah.
people looking for him throughout the galaxy that he's been
He
running
was.
from.
Yeah, he was panicking pretty bad.
And inexplicably, he tells Will to walk out there, and he tells Will that it's not going to hurt him. I guess he's assuming that it's only looking for Tucker, so that Will be completely safe.
Hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah. Once again, a very simple design that actually works well.
Yeah.
It does. I don't know if they use the word probe, but that's pretty much what it is. And it's got even a big eye on the front there. And the head does turn, so it articulates somewhat, at least.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It almost reminds me of the aliens from War of the Worlds.
Oh, it is similar, especially the
Hey,
glass.
this show was on CBS, wasn't it?
Yes,
So does that not look like the CBS symbol, like the logo of CBS?
similar, which is an eye.
Yeah, because CBS, I remember seeing it on TV shows. It was always like a big eye, right?
Yes.
So it reminds me a lot of the CBS logo, actually.
And I have a note regarding this scene here, too.
Oh, jeez.
Right here.
Will Robinson was vaporized, never to be seen again.
Oh, poor Will. He died too young.
I guess now you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Did he go towards the light? Don't go
On,
towards the light.
on December 27th, and referring to the December 22nd shooting final teleplay, Sam Taylor Jr. of CBS Program Practices wrote, in the words of censors, wrote, as discussed with Mr. Wilson, page 21, scene 56. As Will is hit by the light beam and frozen into motionless stasis, please do not show him in pain or terror stricken.
Huh.
So that was another note that came down from the network.
So
So
being
that's why
frozen in stasis is actually kind of a pleasant experience then.
I guess they just don't want to. I guess they don't want to show him suffering. They don't want
Okay,
to show him suffering, so that's why they don't want to show.
cool. It just seems a bit strange, actually, though.
So Will is pretty much paralyzed by this beam, which Tucker uses as a distraction. So he sneaks around the rocks and behind the probe, which we will see here shortly,
Oh yeah, I remember this
and
part.
smashes the probe over the head,
Hmm.
thereby deactivating it.
So Will was a decoy, basically.
Will's decoy. And which isn't the only time he's being used as a decoy. Obviously, Smith does it many times, right?
Oh jeez, Smith has a career out of doing that. He's probably going to write a book about how many times he's used Will as a decoy.
And I'm going to show something here
Good old
until
Dr.
Jill comes back. All right, bear with me, guys. If I can do this right without messing it up again. There we go. Here is a headshot. That's what they use in Hollywood. They call headshots that actors and actresses would send around to potential agents and producers. And here's a headshot of Albert Salmi.
Oh,
And as you
yeah.
can see, it includes his signature, so somebody had it signed.
Nice.
So I imagine he must have done some conventions and things like that. And
It
as you
looks
can
like
see,
Looks
Go
like he
ahead.
was doing a western. Oh, Daniel Boone. Oh, that was a great show. I like Daniel Boone.
Yeah, oh yeah, he did the whole circuit back then. He was on everything.
Yeah, yeah. Westerns were huge back in those days.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That was cool.
Oh, whoops! Did I accidentally do that?
Do
Oops.
what?
Somebody's doing something.
Well, I set my phone down here, and then all of a sudden the thing.
The screen's kind of popped in and out a couple of times, but no worries. It's all
And,
good here still.
and here we go. This is what I was talking about. This is where Tucker sneaks behind the probe with a
Nice.
rock and bunks it on the head, thereby damaging the probe. Which
Yeah,
reminds
that
me of the Empire Strikes Back. I don't know why. It reminds me of the
mm,
probes on Planet Hoth when they're out looking for um, basically the rebellion.
No, it reminds me when they're on Endor there, and those things you can fire as much energy weapons at it, it won't destroy them, but two logs smashing into the side of them takes them out.
I know, but let's not talk about the Ewok scenes. That's something that's like New Trek.
oh
Let's not
no, not
discuss that, right? That's like
I
the
hate.
time you that's like the time you walked into the bathroom and saw Grandpa with his pants down. It's like, no, let's not talk about that.
I've never had
Yeah,
that experience, so
yeah.
Neither have I, thank goodness.
I'm not a fan of Ewoks either. I thought Jedi was
Nobody is. No
that was
Star
like
Wars fans is.
that was the third movie was an epic fail for me. Really, I
yeah.
was
I
so
guess I'm
disappointed.
not a I guess I'm not a Star Wars fan.
Well, it was
Well,
obvious they just wanted to sell teddy bears,
it was
right? It was like,
toys, right? It was just for toys.
yeah,
And it's a generational thing, Gorilla. No offense. It's just like, I know the younger people like Spaceballs, but for us older people, it's a generational thing. We despised it.
yeah,
My
exactly.
favorite scene in Return of the Jedi is when the Ewok gets killed. I
I'm
remember
exact.
I
Yeah.
was on a date with a girlfriend, and she got mad because I stood up and started cheering.
Oh boy. But I'm with you totally, Pop. Like the first Star Wars movie was incredibly. It was a phenomenon because I remember my cousin and I actually went on a holiday, drove down to Vancouver, and saw it on a gigantic, huge. Back when theaters were huge, right? Big screen, and it was packed. Like we had to stand in line for like half an hour to get a ticket. It was just packed. I mean, it was just full. There was not a seat. And when Star Wars started and the first shot, with the Star Destroyer and all that stuff, it was like everybody's going, "Oh my god!" Everybody's just had their minds blown watching that
Yep.
sequence, right? And the rest of the movie was just as good. And then we waited a couple years, and then when Empire came out, that was even better, right? That was
Yep.
really great. And then Jedi
Thanks to
came out,
Irvin
and it was
Kershner.
yeah, and then Jedi came out, and we got teddy bears.
Right there, you go.
And my heart just sank when I watched that movie. It really did. Anyway, I'll
Yep.
shut up now. Let's get back to the episode.
Here, let's get chat
Oh
caught up
God.
here.
Thank you. And no offense to anybody out there if you like the Ewoks. It's just that's a matter of taste. So I
Yeah,
respect your
exactly.
opinions.
If you love
Yeah.
Ewoks, love them, but I don't. So
But I can't tell you this in hindsight now, all these decades later. I mean, Ewoks, the toys never sold. Go into any eBay auction, any Star Wars convention, memorabilia where they're selling, and all you'll see is X-wing fighters, Y-wing fighters, lightsabers. You will not see Ewoks. That they did not sell, so it was a waste. Anyway, go
so
ahead, Gorilla.
Ewoks are like the Beanie Babies of Star Wars
Well, at least they were Beanie Babies were fat for a short time.
for a
Ewoks
short
did
time.
not sell. Right? Ewoks they did not sell. They tried. No, people were buying Yoda, but nobody was buying Ewoks. They
Mm.
just never caught on. Anyway, go
Yeah,
ahead,
I don't
Gorilla.
know.
Sorry.
Yeah, go,
All right.
bro.
DVB says foul equals false foul. DVB says it's true, I promise. Mikey says my wife and I are believers, DVB. DVB says it's okay if you don't agree, no worries.
Exactly.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yes, Mikey sees 4. Mikey says very true. You get it, Mikey sees 4, says DVB. I still don't get it. And DVP kindly puts Mikey sees 4's channel in there for his topic times and reviews. And Scurvy here is putting a demonic symbol, aka the CBS symbol, in his chat. And Mikey says, yes, TVB. A large majority of people remain blind, but their current foul starting to lose his mind anyway. And TVB says, have you checked out I Am Phony channel? Mikey sees 4. He says, not yet, TVB.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, and TVB says, lots of Paul is dead factual video evidence. Mikey sees 4, you'll dig it. And DVB says, I don't want to post the link out of respect for Pops, but just search I Am Phony here on the boob tube for Mikey Sees 4. And
Cool.
DVB says, excellent channel. Mikey says, we are aware that the official Paul died in summer of 66. And DVB says, I'm a fan of Ewoks, but Return of the Jedi came out when I was 3 years old. And Mikey says, I love the Ewoks. And DVB says, the first Halloween I was an Ewok. DVB and Mikey are both laughing. And Scurvy says, so Foul came around in the fall of 66. Alrighty. We're all caught up.
Okay, here we are with the Robinson family. I thought that's strange that Will was kidnapped the day before. They haven't seen him, but they seem to be taking this very lightly. They have a map there, and they're deciding who's going to cover what region to go searching for Will. And, of course, Dr. Smith immediately tries to excuse himself from the search party. And I love it. I'm glad Jill caught this slide here, where she says, you are a coward. Because Dr. Smith is a volunteer and just stay back and protect the ladies. And I'm glad she called him on it, because this was actually a very funny scene.
Actually, I thought this scene was amazing. Like, it's the first time I can remember in the series when Maureen actually stands up to Smith and tells him exactly what he is. And
remember the episode where he took apart the laser gun?
I guess I've forgotten it, but she actually gets really angry. She actually gets really angry here, which I love this scene, actually.
Yeah, the only time you see her angry is with Dr. Smith.
And when you lose her support, you really, really messed up.
Right, you really did something wrong, of all people, to get mad at, to get upset at you. It's like
Maureen's always a peacemaker, and this time she's like, screw you, Smith. I love this scene. It's great. Actually, it's probably one of the best scenes of the episode for me, personally.
And of course, he has never short of excuses, of course.
Oh, God.
Are you implying, and of course I refuse, for the sake of that dear lad. But I just saw, I know we're not giving our reviews yet, but it just seemed very unbelievable that they didn't take it seriously. They don't know what this guy could be doing with Will. Don seems to be the only one he seems upset, but of course Professor Robinson holds him back. And he's basically telling him that he's going to hold on to Will for now. But he says he's not going to harm him.
He's not the most trustworthy looking character in the world, though, is he? Like,
no, I wouldn't trust him. And of course, Dr. Smith faints again. That's a sight of him.
Hopefully he doesn't do this in any other episodes. This is really weird.
No, it's like right. It is uncommon in the character. That's what it kind of mentioned in the book, that during the first half of this episode, it's kind of out of character with the fainting. So basically, he tells them that he'll give them Will back in exchange if they repair the ship. And they tell him that it's an alien vessel, and they don't know how to repair it. And I know now this is to the stretch of the imagination. He says, "Well, you give me the parts, and I'll tell you how to put it together." Assuming that they have the parts for an alien vessel, I guess.
Yeah, right. The Jupiter 2 is made to work in alien vessels.
Right.
They're interchangeable.
Interchangeable universal parts, right?
Well, I like. I hope I'm not
somebody here, Gorilla.
Yeah.
No, go for it, Gorilla.
It's Sean.
Hey, Sean. Good to see you.
Hey, Sean.
Right back.
Hey, everybody.
There we are. Yeah,
can you hear me okay, guys?
Kinda.
Okay? I just
say a
How
few
you,
more words, and maybe we'll know for sure.
I can hear him.
Hello, hello.
I
Oh, you
yeah,
sound
I'm
fine.
here.
Yeah,
good to see
you're
you,
okay.
Sean. How you doing there?
I'm great, and I'm glad you're doing this. I have Pop. I've been sitting on a story that my mom told me 2 days ago that is going to blow
Oh,
you
go
away.
for it. I appreciate it.
Oh, it sounds interesting.
So yeah. So get this. So I was talking to her on Sunday about the Jupiter 2 and my YouTube channel and everything. I said, yeah, I'm doing it for this other YouTuber. He really likes Lost in Space, and she goes, oh yeah, I know, I remember that show. Who was the guy that was in the robot suit? And I look it up. I said, are you talking about Bob May?
Bob May, right?
And she goes, yes, Mr. May. And I'm like, what do you mean, Mr. May? She goes, well, when I worked at State Farm Insurance, we insured him.
Oh
And
wow,
Oh,
she said this was in the San Fernando Valley near LA where I grew up.
wow.
And she says he would come in quite frequently, and anytime he would get some new paraphernalia or a prop or something from the show, he would come in and add that to his collection of things to be insured. So
Wow.
he would add these items to his homeowner's insurance. And she goes, he absolutely loved to talk about the filming and working on the show. And she's always called him Mr. May. And she said he really liked that. And I go, oh my God, I can't wait to tell this story to Pop.
Man,
very
that's
cool.
so very
Tell her,
cool.
tell her I'm jealous. I would have given anything to be him.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I'll
To have
pass it
actually
on.
have met the man in the robot suit. That's very, very cool.
And especially
Yeah.
on a regular basis like that.
Yeah, she just
Yeah.
knew him as Mr. May, and she again because my dad worked in the industry, so we frequently met famous people. So, but like he would come into the store
Wow.
and stuff, but or into her office. And I asked her, I said, did he tell any stories that you remember? Because she said no, she didn't remember anything. So that was kind of a bummer. I was hoping to get one out of her to pass on to you, but
Right. Us obsessive fans, of course, we would remember every word verbatim.
yeah,
But back then, they wouldn't know. Back then, they would never imagine that we would be talking about this 50 years later.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
back
yes,
and back then, you'd never really ask a famous person like to talk to you about a lot about their work,
Right,
right?
unless they volunteer it, right.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
You'd
and
be
that's
too
what she
polite.
said. Yeah, and that's what she said because he would come in and say, "Okay, I need to add this artifact or this thing to my home to get it covered under his homeowner's insurance." So she said
Cool.
he would usually just tell a story about that prop or whatever that thing was.
I
And
know. I
oh
wish I
yeah,
could see some of that. I wonder what it was that he took home with him. That would be
Yeah,
oh
interesting to
yeah,
find
he
out.
must have had a nice little collection of Lost in Space
Can you
paraphernalia then.
imagine the
I'm
value of
guessing.
those things now? Original
oh
Oh,
props.
very, very high, very high value, I'd guess.
Yeah, original props from
Yeah.
the
Oh,
set.
yeah.
My
Well, it's like
goodness.
if you had an original phaser or something from Star Trek, you could probably retire, right?
Mad Scientist and I were talking about that last night.
uh,
We were talking about the value of Star Wars memorabilia and Star Trek, and
it's
how some of that
crazy.
stuff goes for millions. Some of the original hero props.
It's nuts. Yeah.
yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
Those I
Plus,
yeah.
can't. Those lucky rich people there. I mean, if I had millions, I would blow all my money on that kind of stuff too.
well, it's like old comic books. If you had Action Comics #1 with the first appearance of Superman from 1939, it's probably worth multiple millions now if you
It
got a big
is.
copy of that, right?
Well, yeah, there was a famous story where Nicolas Cage bought one
Oh, really?
because
Wow.
he's a
I guess he could
big
afford to.
he was a big well, he was a big Superman fan. This was in the '90s, and he started buying up a whole bunch of Superman memorabilia. That's why he was fighting to get that role in the movie Superman Lives,
Mm-hmm.
the Tim Burton movie that never really went through.
Yeah, that was kind of a mess up.
But I think it's a blessing. I don't think he would have made a good Superman, in my opinion. I
Well,
like Nicolas Cage, but not as Superman.
if you ever want to see the backstage stuff, there's a good video that
Yes.
the critical Scotsman put up. If you know who I'm talking about.
Well, they made a documentary based on that, telling behind the scenes, and it shows pictures of the
Yeah,
prototype suits and things like that.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. The drinker put I think it's like maybe a 15-minute video on his channel. It's like
Well,
production hell.
he's showing clips. He's showing clips from the documentary. I would recommend the documentary.
Oh, okay. Wow, I'll have to check that out then. Nice.
Yeah, the documentary is probably about an hour long, and
Okay.
he was just talking about that documentary.
Yeah. It did sound like a very flawed idea from the start, though. Really.
Horrible. Tim Burton doing a Superman movie? No thanks.
Yeah, I really like Tim Burton in his early days. Like I enjoyed Edward Scissorhands when I saw it in the theater back in the day. But after that, it seemed like every movie he made got progressively worse and worse
Yes.
and worse
Yeah,
to the point where I never want to see another Tim Burton movie ever.
I
Basically,
know, and I know a lot of people are excited, but I don't have much faith in Beetlejuice 2.
We'll see.
yeah, first Beetlejuice
We'll
was a lot
see.
of fun actually, but yeah, remakes and yeah, they're usually not. They're usually sequels are usually not great. Yeah.
Let's hope that Gina Davis isn't in it because she needs to be banned and stricken from Hollywood.
Oh God, she's what, probably 90 by now.
Well, it's not that. It's not that she's the one that brought in all this woke an agenda and tick boxes and all
Oh
over to
really?
Hollywood.
Did
Yeah,
Gina
that was Gina Davis that did all that. She started the
Gina
feminist
went
movement.
woke. Oh great, that's
She
lovely,
started
lovely.
it. She started it.
Man.
She created an organization where they wrote an AI, and then all the scripts had to be filtered through that. And now
Oh,
this is what we get later on.
oh jeez, that sucks.
Right. So a lot of what you see going on, that's destroying all these franchises,
Wow,
she's was the root of all that.
man,
Didn't
that's too
J.J.
bad.
Abrams' wife have a lot to do with that too? I think she
I
was.
don't know if she has any connection with Gina Davis or not.
No, oh, no, I don't think she. I don't know if she was in connection with Gina Davis, but J.J. Abrams' wife was the one who spearheaded the whole Me Too hashtag Me Too movement.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
She
So.
should meet. She should meet to him.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, back to the episode.
Yeah.
So now we have Will Robinson meandering into spending time with Tucker, and Tucker's telling him basically a bunch of tall tales about his travels through the galaxy and meeting different people.
Aliens born from eggs. It reminds me of the Mocklins from the Orville.
Right. And it's just I don't know it, and I'll cover it like I said in my review later on. I don't like the fact that there's no urgency for the family trying to rescue Will. It just doesn't make much sense. I can see why they wanted to do the pirate angle where Will is fascinated with the pirate because, like I said, this is just like Treasure Island. You had the boy who is friends with Long John Silver, so they seem to be more concerned on that than showing the urgency of the family wanting to rescue Will. I never realized that earlier when I was a kid when I watched this episode, but now as an adult, it's hard to swallow. I'll put it that way. But that's just an opinion.
No, it's a good one. Sometimes I miss out on those kind of things where the the family should have been caring a whole lot more. Makes sense.
Right? They wouldn't rest. They wouldn't even get a night's sleep. They wouldn't even rest. They wouldn't be in bed. They wouldn't be sleeping. They would be out there finding a way to ambush this pirate, which
Yeah,
would be very easy.
It
it
happens
seems
in
that
Star Trek sometimes too, though, where the crew doesn't seem as worried as you think they should be.
it
Yeah,
seems like
exactly.
this episode does seem like a bit of child neglect as far as Will goes, in my opinion. Like, do they actually not even care what this kid's up to with this dude? Like, because he's kind of a weird dude, right?
Well, and looking at it through today's eyes, you don't know to trust him. He's a stranger. You don't know
Oh,
what
I don't think you'd even get this on TV now. People would be too creeped out, right?
Well, and think about it. The kid is spending 2 nights with him.
Well,
I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
this is like Michael Jackson territory here.
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about Michael Jackson. That's the whole phenomenon. I remember that one year when Michael Jackson had Thriller or whatever, and I couldn't turn on the radio, I couldn't turn on the TV, I couldn't turn any media on, and it was playing bloody Michael Jackson, right? For like a whole
Yeah.
year, and it drove me nuts. I was just like, what the heck are you people on here? It's like, okay, it's a decent album, but it's not that bloody good, right? You
He
know.
always creeped me out. I never liked him.
Oh, he is well. He got he the thing is, Michael Jackson started off as as
A black
basically
man, and then
a normal black man, and then he
right.
turned himself into a space alien.
Well, in his own words, he wanted to look like Diana Ross.
He failed.
But right, oh yeah, he definitely failed miserably. He was a freak. Well, I don't want to get into that, but I'll just
Anyway,
say I never liked him. I
yeah,
Yeah.
never liked him.
I
I
like
always
some.
knew he was a creep. And when
I
it
like
came out, I
yeah.
knew it. It was like, oh yeah, what a big shocker when everything came out. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, what a surprise.
yeah, totally. I
Yeah.
like some of his music, but as a person, I thought he was.
None. I like none of his music. I despise him.
I thought he was an awful person, really.
I know. I don't have any. No, for people that do that to little children, no. I absolutely it enrages me. Go ahead, Gorilla. Sorry.
Should we catch up on chats here?
Yes, thank you.
Go for it, Gorilla.
And Mikey says yes. There, the DVP says Wednesday morning at 5 o'clock as the day begins. That's Scurvy. And Scurvy says, I am the walrus. I am the eggnog.
It's more like I am the walrus. I am the eggnog. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
Yeah. And
I know my
Scurvy
Beatles.
says in ancient Canadian medicine, eggnog applied to a rash begins to heal quicker. I heard eggnog makes excellent fire retardant.
We should spray the hills here with eggnog then.
Yeah, go for it. We'll just take that back you got your hose hooked up to and just
might
start
work.
spraying that on the hill.
I wish I had some, but I'm all out. So oh well.
Yeah, TVP says, remember, Nicolas Cage almost played Superman.
Oh, I love lemon
Yep.
spokes.
Breaking news.
Lemon, you rock, man.
TVP says, LOL, you said it at the same time I was typing it, Pops. DVB
Great
says
minds think
Superman-
alike.
And DVB said Superman was supposed to be directed by Tim Burton, and the
Ew.
script was written by Keith Smith. I read the script years ago.
Ew,
was
Kevin
written by
Smith.
Kevin Smith.
Back
God.
in 1990.
Even
wonder it
worse,
was bad
Kevin
then.
Smith.
No wonder
Yeah.
it was bad.
And Sean says, hey to Scurvy. Sean's giving some weird face. Scurvy says, hail Sean.
Weird face. It was a smiley face. It's not weird.
Well, I can't see it. My eyes are blurry from this freaking wasp thing. My eyes are blurry, and I'm falling asleep here.
Did
Okay.
you fall and hit your head there, Gorilla?
No, you didn't hear about that?
You fell down the stairs again.
I don't think I did. You felt? Oh, really?
No,
Recently?
I didn't. No, I got stung by a wasp there.
Oh, and you
Ooh.
had a pretty bad reaction?
Well, not enough to go into the ER, but enough that it's affecting me.
Holy crap, man! I hope you're. Well, I'm glad you're okay, man. That's scary.
Yeah. And DVB says Sean Carter to Mars of Mars. Hello, Sean Carter. Hee hee. And Scurvy says, Benadryl take out Gorilla for a couple minutes there, Scurvy. A couple minutes. I don't know if you won the pool or not. And the
a
DVB
good
says, Ja Haman. Hee hee. LOL.
Come
And
on.
Mikey says, hello, Sean. Here is Jill's channel for Plumik Tea Time. It's 2 Us reveals. And DVB says Michael Jackson had serious mental issues.
Yeah, you got that right.
No, he was quite sane. Don't try to make it look like he was sick. He wasn't. He was a criminal. Don't try to pass on like he was sick. He wasn't. He was quite sane. He knew what he was doing. That is not an excuse for pedophiles and child groomers. I'm sorry, but I'm going to draw the line and stand my ground. That's not a mental illness.
I do
This is
think
a criminal
anybody.
activity. Criminal activity. Keep that in your mind.
I do think, Pop, though, that anybody who basically chops half of their nose off must have some kind of mental condition. You know, obviously, he's got some weird issues going on when he looks in the mirror, right?
that was strictly ego and conceit.
Yeah, okay. I agree. I mean, I'm not forgiving his pedophile behavior. Absolutely, I agree 100% with you. He was an asshole. But
Right, but he's like all the women these days who get plastic surgery. It's strictly ego and conceit and vanity.
pretty much,
No
yeah.
difference.
I thought he just made himself look like a freak by the time he got
He
older.
did.
You know who else? You know who else did that? That looked awful was Kenny Rogers.
Yes.
He,
And that was right.
yeah.
You can blame Dolly Parton for that. She's the one that told him to get the botched surgery.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
Oh, Dolly's another one that's gone. That
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Did you guys see that? Uh, I heard it yesterday. She came out with the cover of Let It Be, and she brought together Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Unfortunately, Peter Frampton on the guitar. So it's like Peter Frampton is like trying to override everybody else. But check it out, and yeah, it's a new cover by Dolly Parton. It's going to be on her new album, and it's Let It Be. And she actually, yeah, she brought together Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, which I thought was very cool.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to see our two living Beatles working together again, for sure.
Yep, exactly. And they're both still touring, and they're old, but they're still touring, and I give them credit for that.
And those guys are like what, 80 or something now, and they're still putting it out there, right? Like, wow.
That's right. Paul
Huge
McCartney is doing
respect.
Paul McCartney is doing vocals with her, and Ringo Starr is on the drums.
Yeah, I have huge respect for those dudes. It's like, I mean, they got like a decade and a half on me, and man, I don't know if I wouldn't have the energy to tour the world like those guys are doing.
Well, if I had the money, I'd have the energy.
Well, yeah, if I was selling tickets for $1,000, I guess I probably would find a way.
Yeah, you figure it out, right? You figure it out real fast.
I know it's funny. Like I get real tired during the day, but then if I'm having a good night delivering pizzas and the tips are good, I'm suddenly like, yeah, let's do this.
Well, I could work all night at this rate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I guess if I went to the bar and I met a really cute woman and she was like eager, that might perk my day up.
There you go.
Not that it ever happens, though, sadly.
Yeah, and I need to jump in. I did not say hello to you, Jill. I'm sorry. Hi, Jill.
She'll be back.
She's away.
She's away. Oh, okay.
She must be having.
She's telling a story to her daughter.
Oh, okay. I fell asleep during her Doom stream last night.
Jill often has her little kitty alerts every
No,
week.
she had some rude people on there last night. That's why I left. But here's another scene you would not see these days, kids. Is a child lighting a cigar. I don't think you'll see these. Right.
I want to print it. I want to frame this picture. This is awesome.
The evils of tobacco.
I love his face. His face is perfect. That expression.
We still have some chats to get through.
You never.
Okay, thank you, Gorilla.
Go, Gorilla.
Yeah, while Jerv's still awake, they actually disproved those charges.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. He bought off the criminals, and I won't do it here, but there's links of all the paraphernalia they found in his house. No, he bought off the system is what he did. No, the charges were never proven. He was never proven innocent. Just like OJ, he got off on a technicality.
Yeah.
And Cosby, what a coincidence.
And DVB says, kind of feel sorry for him. Dude had some messed up childhood.
I don't feel sorry for him.
And DVB says, you're right.
I had a messed up childhood, but I didn't go around messing around with little kids and using it as an excuse.
I had a very messed up childhood with very dysfunctional parents, and
right. So I didn't go around. I didn't go around doing stuff to kids and then blaming it on my childhood.
Exactly. I never turned into a bad person. I think you guys probably realized that after talking to me for many years.
He was a monster. He was a monster.
Yeah, because remember, he had 4 siblings who didn't do any of that stuff.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. He used his fame, his wealth, and his influence to do it. That's what I'm saying is it's not a medical condition. He was a criminal through and through and a monster. Nothing short of a monster.
And he used his fame and his wealth to avoid paying the penalty for the bad things he did do. Right,
which rich people are able to do. That's why I mentioned Cosby and that's why I mentioned Cosby, right? And the other one.
Exactly. I mean, how many times do we hear of a millionaire going to jail for a long time?
Only one, and that's the guy that did the guy that stole from the millionaires. Remember the Ponzi scheme?
Oh, the Ponzi scheme guy. Yeah,
right. That's the only time you'll see a multimillionaire go to jail, and that's only because he stole from other millionaires.
Yeah, that was really bad. He really did screw a lot of people over, that dude, though. I remember that. That's like 20 years ago or something now.
Right. I mean, look at Dick Cheney murdered somebody hunting and got away with it, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he killed him, but he
No. Yeah, he didn't kill him, but he did shoot him.
I think he shot him.
And
Shot him in the face.
let's not forget about Kennedy and Chappaquiddick, where he killed that woman in the car and
Oh,
left her there.
you're talking
I
about
mean, there's so many stories.
Robert, right? Robert Kennedy.
Yes, Robert Kennedy.
Yeah, yeah,
Pop
Right.
culture. Pop
All right.
culture. I have to tell you, I resent all of those things. I did not do those.
I
Sorry,
am
that
an
was too
innocent man.
cringy.
Or in Nixon's words, I am not a criminal.
Those are horrible. We only had story time.
Yeah. You know, it's totally normal to sleep with little boys in the bed. Yeah, everybody does that, right?
What did he call the drinks he gave them? Magic juice or some crazy name? Like,
Right. But there are reports when they went and raided his mansion, kitty porn, all this horrible stuff. I just don't want to mention it on this stream.
I would not. Well, yeah, we should keep it PG since we're doing Lost in Space.
Right. But yeah, he was definitely not innocent. Quite far from it.
He never
So-
seemed innocent to me.
Jill's back now, so now I can say, hi, Jill.
Oh, hello. Hey, Sean Carter. How are you?
I'm doing well.
And Jill's wondering what kind of conversation she walked into.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I could pretty much tell. I've seen the documentaries and all that.
We were talking about a creepy person, Michael Jackson, Jill.
Yeah,
All right.
and that makes sense because Will is stuck with this guy for a couple of nights, but
Yeah.
he turns out okay.
That's kind of why we were talking about it.
All right, let's get back on
Sounds-
this here because I am falling
Sounds good.
asleep today.
Oh God, that's
But
good.
we got a lot of chat to catch up on here.
There
Yeah,
you go.
and I gotta watch the Immunity Syndrome.
Yeah. And DVB says you're right, Pops. It was bad news in the end. Mikey says it doesn't matter if you're black or white. Scurvy here says you're a vegetable. It says I am plastic surgery to look like scurvy. JK. DBB says no sane person would ever self-mutilate their face. Michael Jackson should have went to some kind of rehab once he started with plastic surgery back in the early 80s. And Germ says, shocking. I remember the time Ringo would stood or shoot Paul and talk to him.
Yep.
Then here is Sean Carter's channel for model work. Mikey says another proof that the real Paul died long ago, and Ringo swears to secrecy if he wants to.
Mikey, he did not die. Come on, Mikey. That's like saying Elvis is still alive. Come on, wake up.
Wait, Elvis ain't alive? All right, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Elvis died on the toilet. Get over it, guys.
Yeah,
kidding,
he says
Pop.
he
To
said
be
he was gonna go
precise,
read.
To be precise, he was on the toilet when he suffered the heart attack. He fell forward, landed straight on his face when he was found. He was face down with his arms on either side of him. And that's where he died. I know they don't like to talk about it, and they don't mention that when you go to visit his Graceland, but that's the facts, man.
Yeah, that'd be
Sorry,
Going
really
to
no
the
gra-
bathroom to read.
Right,
That'd
no
be a-
Dragnickel. Oh, by the way, he was one of the they found feces in him that was 4 months old. He was extremely constipated from all the drugs. So he was literally he was full of you know what.
Wasn't John? Didn't John Wayne have the same thing going on?
I hadn't heard of Wayne doing that.
I think
Yeah.
John Wayne also was like backed up like that.
Priscilla
Yeah.
Presley died that way though too. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, that'd be a really crappy way to die. But anyhow,
Oh,
that-
bad pun.
well, pun intended. I was gonna say another word, but it's lost its space. DVB says that's what I mean when I said he had serious mental issues. Pops, still not an excuse. Completely agree with you, Pops.
Well,
And,
the thing is, I wouldn't say he needs medical treatment. I would put him in jail. That's the difference where I draw the line. I'd say, nope, that's jail. He's not a victim. He doesn't need medical treatment. He doesn't need a psychologist. He needs jail. By the way, out in the main population, I would recommend.
Oh, man. Hey, that hurts.
all right. And
Yeah.
Germ says Elvis did not die. He just went home. And Mike said, "Oh, yes, you're." All right, let's get this show wrapped up here.
Oh yeah, no, I like this part because we find out that what year it is for sure is 1998.
I guess
Right,
that
which
makes
means-
sense.
No, they
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
launched in '97, right? So it's been a year. Is that what they're saying? Am I
Yeah.
right?
That's what I was just going to mention. It's been like a year since they launched, so
Now,
that kind
if
of
you
makes sense.
right, and if you guys watch this episode, I thought which is kind of funny is he's telling the story. Every time he inhales from the cigar, he blows it in Smith's face.
Good. Oops, I'll be right
That
back.
was a nice touch.
So here's where he tells him he was abducted in 1885 by an alien race.
1876.
Thank you. I was gonna say I wasn't sure of that year.
So didn't they say he's like 150 years old or something around there, like, roughly?
Yes, and I wanted to mention too that according to Tucker, he was picked up by aliens called the Tellusians, and the base word of are Tellurians, and the base word of Tellurians is actually Latin for Earth, which would indicate that he did in fact leave Earth in an Earth ship. I just don't know if they figured people would catch that or not.
And yet the Jupiter 2 doesn't have as advanced mechanical properties as his ship, because didn't they say they could get back to Earth like in a short time if they had his?
Well,
his
right, that's what they mentioned earlier, and Don even said
yeah,
it's like a starship, and then Professor Robinson,
yeah.
said, we can make a whole fleet of them and be all over the universe, which
So
we eventually that's what we get in Star Trek.
so the Jupiter 2 is not a starship. I find that a bit strange, actually.
It has a hyperdrive, but it's not a warp drive. That's the difference.
Okay. Still seems like a long distance to Alpha
But
Centauri.
but that's what you remember. That's why they were put in stasis in those chambers.
Oh, good point. Thank you for reminding me. Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and finish the chat, Gorilla. Thank you. Sorry.
Also, they say here that he's more than 140 years old. Oh, you know what? Actually, it checks out. Never mind. I'll be right back.
Go for it.
Okay. Toddler emergency.
That kid sounds adorable.
Oh, she's pretty cute. I've heard her many times hanging out with Jill when she comes on and starts talking to Mama, and it's pretty cute.
Mhm.
Jill's so lucky to have a sweet little family like she has. Very lucky lady.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, Gorilla. Thank you. Can you help us finish up with the chat so we can continue?
Yeah,
the
we
episode?
got only two here. He says, "I'm the reincarnation of Elvis. Thank you very much." And Mike says, "Yoda, when 150 years you reach, look as good you would not." LOL. And Jupiter 2's just an oversized UFO, says Mikey. Now we are all caught up.
Jupiter 2 is kind of a classic saucer, isn't it, basically?
Well, it's based on because a lot of the sightings back in the
Yeah.
day and even still are cylindrical objects. But of course, now these days we see all kind of shapes and sizes. One of them even looks like a boomerang.
The ones I've seen, yeah, there was one I saw that did look like a boomerang and one that was kind of triangular. I saw
That's a
floating in the
TR3B.
sky.
Yeah, the rectangular one is a TR3B. That's what I
Yeah.
saw.
I've seen those a
You
few
actually,
times now.
you actually had a sighting?
I had a few
I
sightings.
did. I saw a TR3B, the rectangular
I
one.
I haven't seen.
Wow.
It's been like probably about a year since I saw it, but yeah, I saw this triangular thing. It was so bright, glowing in the sky. I knew that this ain't no. I see the thing. We have a major airport about 10 miles away from here, so I hear planes taking off day and night. Right. This was not a plane. This was definitely not a plane
That's so cool.
because it was basically hovering, stationary, right? And it just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there, and it was like this bright glowing. It was like a neon tube, but it was triangular, and it was
Yeah.
something I'm not going to forget.
I
Yeah,
think that one's
same here. When I saw the TR3B, it's like once you see it, it's like a ghost. Once you see it, you believe, and no
Oh
one's
yeah,
going to change. No one's going to change my mind saying
yeah.
that I didn't see what I saw.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I went out and I got in the car, went and got my groceries, and came back home, and it was still there. And it's like, okay, I went and bought my groceries, and I wasn't hallucinating at the grocery store, so I know I'm not hallucinating now, right? So
Right,
it's really there.
Sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead, Gorilla.
Bob. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, welcome, Daniel's Hot Topics. Welcome. And he says
Daniel.
140 years old. Cool. Micah says, cool, Daniels. And Jupiter 2 is gassy, according to Lemon Pie.
Yeah, he's 140 years old because the aliens kept him in stasis.
Well, I hope I look that good when I'm 140. Is all I'm going to say, guys. Hey, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. You can always hope, right? Okay, I'm moving into fantasy territory. I know.
we don't look that good now.
Oh shit!
Right.
I definitely don't. I definitely don't. Oh god. I think
So
I should
who-
take the,
Speak for
I should take the mirror out of the bathroom. I'd probably be much happier if I did. Oh boy.
So here's where they have them resuming, trying to help him repair his ship. So at least they've somewhat befriended him. So now the suspicion of whether they could trust Will around him, it seems to be somewhat alleviated. And we have Dr. Smith spying outside, listening, of course. And of course,
Kind of
all
crazy how someone from the 1800s knows how to put together an alien ship.
Well, he did say he didn't understand the mechanic. Well, no, you're right about that, right? So,
I think he said at one point in the episode he could do basic repairs, but that was about it. If I remember, I think there was the line where he said, "I can do basic repairs, but you know that's about all he could do, right?"
right. Well, it seemed that that's just it's a good point Jill made, because there's some points where he basically says, "I really don't know much. I can do basics," but then he tells them that you bring me the parts and I can repair it, which is pretty advanced.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe it's an inconsistency with the writing. I'm guessing because it doesn't seem consistent if you think
No,
about
right? It doesn't gel, which is it happens.
it. Exactly.
Yeah, welcome, Captain Finity.
Hey,
Oh my
Captain
God, the
Finity, good to
captain's
see
here.
you. Welcome. Glad that you can be
Yeah,
here.
hello.
Are
Hello,
you having
Captain Kennedy.
you having a coffee there, Captain?
No, it's popcorn.
Oh well, that's good too.
Popcorn's great.
I'll never turn down.
No, they have access to hyperdrive, but they still don't get to Earth. They lose it.
But they do think at this point, don't they? If they could get his ship, they could get back to Earth quite quickly.
Well, they have a good idea. They decide that they could, even though it's not big enough to take everybody, they could shuttle back and forth.
Exactly.
Yep.
They could
Which makes sense.
They could make like
Right.
3 or 4 trips and get everybody back there.
Right, that's what Don mentions. Right.
It would have been great, but then of course the series would have ended, and that's not going to happen. So
Exactly. Right. Just like Gilligan's Island. Right. As soon as they get rescued, the show's over.
Exactly. There's a million reasons they probably should get off the island, but we don't want to see them get off because we like the show.
Those poor people.
You selfish people.
It's all fun though, isn't it fun?
Oh, go back to that last part. That last frame, please. There. Now I want to cover. There's a notes in this chapter about this line right here to be specific. This is notes from Irwin Allen. Page 37, scene 98, Don's line. We could take this ship. Should not convey a malicious or unprincipled intention. So I'm surprised that line actually made it through the script. Because usually that's something Dr. Smith would say.
I'm actually surprised too, because when I watched it this afternoon, I thought, man, Don's getting pretty heavy-handed here. We can take the ship, like, screw this guy. We're just gonna, take him over, right? So.
Well, I'm glad he does, because I'm sure the audience is thinking the same thing.
Well, we all
because
were.
because you're probably thinking, well, they don't mention, at least bring it up that they're saps and they're ignorant. Yeah, so I'm glad they do at least bring it up. But of course, Professor Robinson reminds him that pretty much we're not thieves.
As you mentioned, though, Irwin Allen making that comment, it's like that is a pretty harsh comment for a 1966 or whatever episode, right? So yeah,
right. Because in reality, I mean, come on, they could have already, let's just say, disposed of Tucker and just take the ship.
The only thing Didn't they make at one point? Didn't was it John Robinson said we wouldn't know how to fly it or something?
Yes, they do bring that up.
Yeah. So
But
that's
then,
why.
but according to what they've established, at least in the last episode, is maybe the robot can figure it out. We have
Yeah,
He
because the
probably could.
robot, because I remember because I'm finally catching up on this, and the robot was going to study how to fly the keeper's ship in
right.
that
Dr.
part.
Smith gave him an entire.
Oh.
Dr. Smith gave him a whole 5 seconds to learn the
Yeah.
controls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even he said he's like, yeah, I can understand it. I just need a little time. So he could have definitely figured out this ship.
Yes.
Yeah, the robot. I think if you gave him a couple hours, he probably could figure it out. Yeah.
Which means logically, the robot should be the first one to go back to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That
maybe
makes sense.
maybe take one more, like maybe
Hello
one
there.
of the Robin.
Hello.
Hail, Captain. Good to see you, and we can hear you fine. That's good to
Hey,
hear.
Captain.
Yay!
Very
Hello.
good.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
having issues myself.
Yeah,
with
I
StreamYard.
know.
Wow.
I know it's not part of the episode, but that's what I would have done. I would say, okay, let's just say we'll dispose of Tucker, and we'll have Robot take the ship back to Earth, and we'll take Professor Robinson with him. I think that's the way
But
it
but
should go.
how could you dispose of somebody in 1966? The network would.
I
not
know,
like
I know. We could tie him up.
Well, but
Yeah.
also, how loyal is that parrot?
Well, that's true. He does have that parrot. Yeah,
that. That's a good comment, Jill.
yeah, because the parrot did take the weapon away from Will.
Well,
So
It
in other
has
words,
teleportation,
right? So
telekinesis power.
so
never
part of
know.
the
It could-
ambush is to take out the parrot first and then Tucker.
It could be a killer parrot with like laser beam eyes or something. You never know.
Right, but they could blast it with one of their laser pistols.
Honestly, I was expecting this parrot to have all sorts of crazy powers throughout the episode when I first met it, and then that was it. It just sings blow the man down.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a plot device. Yeah, it really.
It
doesn't
was
do
kind of
much.
disappointing, wasn't it, Jill? Yeah. Yeah, I thought the parrot might be cooler too, actually.
All right. Should we catch up on that real quick?
Thank you, Gorilla. Yes, I know it's getting late, so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Gorilla.
go for it, girl,
Yeah.
before you fall asleep there, man.
Let's
Oh,
try to
too
stay
late.
on. Let's try to stay on topic, guys, for the rest of this.
Yeah. All right, too
All right,
late,
we'll
but
try.
anyhow, Mikey says I saw March 1997 UFO back in Phoenix, the Phoenix Lights. I know what my military planes, copters, self-crafted. This wasn't any of them.
But yeah, there's videos all over YouTube. You look it up, the Phoenix Lights.
Hey, DBB says, did you just say that you see the ghost pops?
No, I said it's like a ghost. Once you
Yeah.
see one, you believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hey, if the aliens ever come down and ask us to take them to the leaders, I'll make a deal with them as long as they take them with them.
If they ever landed and asked me to take him to any leaders on Earth, I'd say, don't bother. They're not worth it.
No. They got to promise to take them with them.
And to clarify,
Take
I've
me
never
to
seen-
your dealer.
I get your point, though, Gorilla. But
And to
yeah,
clarify,
our leaders aren't worth a nickel. Really.
Yeah, they're here for meth. I mean, they're not here to make peace.
They're here for themselves, is what they're here for.
Yeah.
Take me to your dealer. As Infinity said.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain says is giving popcorn. DB says, "What's the story?"
What's the story? What's the story, Morning Glory?
Yeah. Here is Germ's channel for your Saturday morning cartoons. There, DB says, "Captain is really so like great to see you, Captain." DB smiles. The Captain says, "Like literally,
Like totally.
DBB
Like
says,
literally.
"Yeah." DBB says, "This is literally like the first time I've seen you in a live stream chat today." And DB says, "Like my mind is literally like blown."
Like literally.
DBB
Like,
says, "Mr.
literally.
Captain, pegging Mr. Captain."
Pager, Mr. Harmon. Pager, Mr. Harmon.
Yeah. DB says, you have a telephone call at the front desk. Mother Greg says the parrot would not allow him to be hurt.
No, that's why I was taking you with ambush. You shoot the parrot from behind with the laser pistol.
That's an ex-parrot. It is pining for the fjords.
Cue John Cleese to step in at this moment.
This parrot is dead.
This is an ex-parrot.
He's got a lovely plumage. I don't care about the plumage.
The
He's
only thing
got
this
it.
parrot was on his purchase. You nailed him on there.
No, I didn't.
All right. Here's Pat the Boomer's channel for watch parties. Mikey says, "Oh my God, that's evil, Captain. I better go. Take care."
Oh,
I guess we'll see you,
See you
Mikey.
later.
Take
See you
care,
later,
Good
Mikey.
night, Mikey.
Yeah. Have a good
Mikey.
night.
Yeah.
And OG says UFOs are real. What they are is another question.
Right,
Here's my-
and I just want to mention really quick is there's a good possibility they're from inside. They're from here, inside the Earth. So there may be some from outer space, but there's also a very good possibility some are from here. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Pop,
Yeah.
Pop, weren't you going to have a
Yes,
stream
that's
about
true,
that?
Euler.
Yes, we do want to have a stream on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jill. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, here's my
But that's
channel.
okay. I was interrupting.
Yeah, here's my channel for shorts, reviews, and watch parties. All right, let's get this episode done.
Hang on, did Mikey Sue's 4 mean me?
You're the only captain.
When he said what?
Well,
There's also Captain Tucker.
I don't know Mikey Sue's 4 from Adam. So just if anyone's curious, a perfect example of individual prejudice, one-on-one prejudice. Never know this. Don't know who this person is. They already hate me. Great.
There.
Anyway, moving on.
But there's a Captain Tucker in the episode.
Oh, see, that's why I have to clarify. Are you referring to the evil captain in the show or the evil captain on the panel? I need to know which one.
I don't
Captain
know.
Tucker's like the major guest star.
I'll
captain.
just assume it's me. Let's carry on.
So yeah,
Probably.
It's probably not about.
By now, I've got a complex, as you can see.
So here's where they're being ambushed. Apparently, there's an alien vessel that shows up and it hovers and zooms overhead. And Captain Tucker tells them they better run. And we cut back to the Jupiter 2. And the Robinsons are trying to figure out what to do exactly. And of course, now they say, "Where's Will?" And Tucker's hiding in the bushes from that probe or ship or whatever it is.
Yeah, finally, after the entire episode, they actually care about where Will is at.
Right, 3 days. 3 days later. Now, remember, at least 2 or 3 days have passed.
Yeah, exactly.
Will has all the compassion, though. He was worried about Captain Tucker.
Yes.
Yeah, but Will's the kind of kid that would probably get kidnapped and murdered these days, right? He's far too trusting. He's a lovely little soul, but he's far too trusting with these guys. Because we don't know these guys; they just land on the planet, and you don't know.
Well, at this point, we don't really know what to believe because he seems to tell a lot of tall tales.
I guess the thing is, though, it was the 1960s, so we didn't have stories like that, did we?
And he seems to. This is where he tells Will that ship that flew overhead is from Signet 4.
He either fabricates what he's talking about, or he makes hyperboles, or he changes the story in some way to make him the better person.
He's an unreliable narrator.
I'm guessing he's making it all up, pretty much, really.
Well, it's just that you can't really trust what he has to say.
Except for the part where he stole the thing.
Yes.
But, I mean, for the most part, Will's not going to know if he's being honest or lying, right? So.
Right.
It looks like this guy gave a very animated performance. I haven't seen the episode yet, but
I would call it animated, yeah.
Yeah, definitely over the top.
This is a very cartoon-like episode for sure.
Okay,
yeah. I kind of found Albert Selmy is his name, if I remember.
Yes.
I found his performance a little bit too over the top for my personal taste, but that's just me,
And here's where they have this device. He really doesn't even know what it is, but he stole it.
From Signet 4.
From Signet 4. And Will is tampering with it, and Will is able to activate it. And we get little projectors on the screen on the wall here where
nice.
We see him running from the Horta.
I think this is the best part of the episode.
I thought
And
this was interesting because they told Will, think about us, mom and dad, and let's see what we see, and there was nothing. So they figured that there's no future. They think that they're not going to make it through the night. I thought that was kind of cool. Gives you a little bit of suspense. But of course, it reading the future, it sees Dr. Smith attempting to sabotage and steal the ship. And it's basically just like Minority Report.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is it reading thoughts? It's reading
that's,
thought patterns.
I think that's what it said in the episode.
Yes, because Will said that when he thought about Tucker, that's when he started getting the images in his mind. So yeah, it's reading Will's mind at this point.
It should be able to read everybody's minds then, right?
Yeah, they didn't explain why Will specifically. I don't know if because he's the one tampering with it or he's the one sitting closest to it.
How come you couldn't read my mind? Because you're not thinking anything. There's nothing there.
Right, it's a void. Shut your mouth, Zach. You were trying to steal my ship. Of course.
I love how he calls him Zach through the whole episode. That's really insulting.
Yeah.
Like,
And that is kind of a running theme
I love
throughout the series. There's going to be a few times where we meet the antagonist who calls him Zach, and he takes that as a offense.
I just love it. I think that was one of my favorite parts of the episode. Actually, every time he addressed him, he's basically insulting him. It's like Zach. It was
Right.
so good.
In
That
fact,
was
to be
fun.
specific, verbatim, there's an episode where one of the bad guys keeps calling him Zach, and he says, "I will not have my name bandied about in this fashion."
It was really good. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
So here's where well, I'm not going to say the horde. I shouldn't do that. But that beast from Signet 4 arrives, and it walks right through their force field, and they realize they're in danger. So they have Dr. Smith call in the robot and sick the robot after the beast. Now here's where it goes to the force field. There we go.
But I kind of like that you call it the
Ooh.
hoarder because we don't really know its motivations or what kind of creature it is, but it isn't malicious because it doesn't even try to punish Tucker. It
Nope.
just like I just want my thing and I'm gonna go now.
Yes, exactly right. Which
Is
is
that
kinda
force
adds-
field letting people in again?
Yes.
My absolute favorite part of the entire episode is this. I mean, I basically thought of this when I saw it today. Watched it. This is the garbage bag monster, right?
It's the homeless person tent.
It's basically made out of garbage bags, though, is it not? It's like black plastic. It's like I
Yeah.
thought it was hilarious.
Okay, now right here, I want to good. I want to highlight something about this specific scene. So what happens is, there, stop, freeze right there. Thank you, Jill. I wanted to mention this is that Tucker is carrying this gun. They call it a forecaster, which reads the future, obviously, or displays the future. And as you guys saw, Tucker stumbled, fell, dropped the forecaster, ran. This creature came up behind him, paused over the forecaster, picked it up, continued along its way, and if you look closely, you can see footprints from tennis shoes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
So yeah, right. So apparently that creature is wearing tennis shoes. Okay, go ahead, Jill. You can continue.
It's Gossamer. It must
Wow.
be Gossamer from the Looney Tunes.
The guy underneath the creature suit is wearing tennis shoes. I'm guessing.
Yes.
That's funny.
Several.
That's
Yeah.
funny. I never noticed that. That's cool.
Yeah, when you're young, of course, and you're a kid, you're not going to think of that kind of stuff.
I just still can't. I just have to think of it as the garbage bag monster because it looks like a giant garbage bag.
Mhm.
Well, it appears that way because this episode's in black and white, but it actually does have more detail than that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, seriously, it even has like big veins and stuff, like the Horda.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, we'll have to rewatch one time.
All right, guys, I am literally falling asleep.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So let's catch up on let's get on the. It's that Benadryl.
Are you gonna work tomorrow, Gorilla?
Yeah, I got work.
Yeah, then let's. Yeah, I want to wrap this up.
Yeah. Go
Let's
ahead and
get up on
crash if you
chat
need
real
to
quick.
there, man.
And
You read the
welcome, Jim.
chat, Gorilla. You read the chat. I'm gonna show a couple slides while you read the chat.
All right, Jim says welcome, or says hello, welcome, Jim. DV
Jim.
says, are you joking or serious, Mikey Suits 4? Here's Oiler Greg's channel for spoiler-free reviews. And Scurvy says, good night, Mikey. Scurvy says, hey, Jim. Here is Jim's behind-the-scenes video. It's actually pretty cool. I checked it out. And Scurvy says, Jim says, hi, Scurvy. DV says, it would be cool if all the planets had a breathable atmosphere.
And
Jim
the
says,
moon. You need a moon.
and Scurvy says, I keep trying my relationship with the outermost planet, strictly platonic.
Plutonic. Oh.
You don't
TV,
you don't need a moon if you're on Vulcan though.
yeah, TVB says,
No.
hi, you
No, you
Jim.
do. That's my point. You absolutely do. Unless you just go, this is a fantasy and who cares?
But Vulcan
Not only
has
do you
no
need a
moon.
moon. Did you not listen to the princess and Jill's chat? Not only do you
Vulcan
need a
has no
moon,
moon.
you need. Well, talking over me is not helping.
Spock said so.
No, Spock's full
Please,
of shit.
PvP.
All right. Anyhow,
I'll do a
this is,
special on the moon later. I mean, it doesn't matter because it's fiction, but you do
It
need a
doesn't.
moon.
It
And
doesn't.
thanks to the princess and Jill's chat, you need a moon, specifically
Yeah.
the shape size that we've got.
There's
Otherwise,
a
no
moon in the
tides,
sky.
no
It's
multicellular
called
life
the
forms, let
moon.
alone hominids, Vulcans.
Right.
It's not going to happen. Just saying.
all right. Stream.
Okay.
This is
Just trying to help.
this is LDG's backstage for IT help, and if you need a place to hang out. Jim says, hello, everyone on the panel. Well, hello to you.
Backstage, if there's no
Scurvy
audience,
says,
what's the point? Sorry.
Scurvy says, good night, gourmet gorilla.
Go make grill.
TVB says, Lost in Space has better cinematography than the moon landing by Stanley Kubrick. BBC says,
That's because he
they're
did
both
the moon
pretty good,
landing.
though.
Oh.
And Jim says, thanks and good night, gorilla. Take care. All right, guys, I'll be listening for a tiny bit, but I gotta bounce here.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for helping us out, Gorilla.
Have a
Yeah.
good night. Have a good sleep there.
Oh
Gorilla,
wait,
man.
but don't you want to review the episode? Or
Oh yes,
or
thank you.
Ken?
Yeah, if you
Oh
could
yeah,
just
give us
quickly
a
give us a
rating or
review.
something, man.
Thank you.
Well, it was kind of like a little bit of a slow going, and one guy who was kind of annoying me, and I just wanted to knock out Dr. Smith, but my brain's been too foggy today to actually make an intelligent review comparison there. I was gonna give it like a B-ish area for this one. So
Cool.
Good score.
And you want to tell us quickly about your channel?
I do a bunch of shorts. I actually just did one today. I can't remember what it was, but then I have 3 watch parties a week. Wednesdays it's Justified. Saturdays is Babylon 5, and then Sunday we are watching for our last songs made into movies month. We are watching Beer for My Horses, and then on Fridays we do a review of Walton's episode.
Cool.
Is that the Toby Keith movie?
Yes,
What's the name again?
Beer for My Horses.
I haven't heard that. Okay. But
It's
no, that
actually
sounds
not
great.
too bad.
That sounds great, Gorilla. I appreciate
Yeah.
you helping me out tonight. I hope you feel better tomorrow.
Yeah, the Benadryl seems to be helping,
Well, that's
So-
great.
but that Benadryl's just wiping me out. So I'm sorry I have to bounce, but it's
Oh, you don't have to apologize. Jeez, it's like 11:40 there for you. It's going on midnight soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries, girl. If you need to sleep, man. I gotta
Yeah.
crash in myself here. I'm pretty.
yeah, and hopefully you don't have to evacuate there, PvP.
I don't think I will. I just gotta get up and start working at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So, and I still gotta hook up. Hopefully, my internet connection will work when I plug the damn work computer in, which I'm gonna do shortly after I get off the stream here. But
Yeah, at least you don't have to drive to work.
oh my god, yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
but
be
no more
so
flirting
nice.
with Debbie in accounts.
I don't
Alright,
care
She
about
made
that.
living worthwhile.
Debbie
No
don't
more
care about
sighing
me,
at
and
her
I don't
heaving
care about
bosom.
her.
Thank you, Gorilla.
All right, we'll see. Right.
Take
Yeah,
care.
have a
All right.
good one, Gorilla. Night, man.
Yes. Stay away
Cheers,
from the
Simeon.
staircase.
Have a good
Simeon
one, man.
Mobile Disco.
Okay, Jill, did we get all the way through the slides? Well, I guess we're done with it, right? So they said goodbye to
It must
Captain
be.
Tucker, and he left.
Isn't there a post log bit where we get to the
Oh,
end
you
of
mean the
there?
cliffhanger?
Yeah, because it was the long one on this, wasn't it? Was it not?
It was actually a
Couple
very
minutes.
short one.
Oh, okay.
Fairly short. Is where
I'm
Professor
thinking of
Robinson.
There
I'm-
are a few more slides left.
I'm thinking of Keeper
That's what I
Part 2,
thought.
I guess.
Because
Keeper Part 2 was like 6 minutes long, but I couldn't be on because my internet died.
Because possibly the best part of this episode is the heart of it, where you get to see Tucker kind of become. He tries to be good for Will, even though he's not good at all. And so here he decides to tell him that he's not really a pirate and he doesn't have any treasure, and he's been lying all along. Just so that Will doesn't want to
This parrot
run
isn't
away
real.
from his family.
Yes.
So he's just being honest, telling Will, I told you a bunch of lies because I wanted you to like me and think of me as a better person than I actually am.
Right.
That's my guess. I don't
He
know.
was
Well,
he's
no,
nothing
he
but the
says that
town nuisance.
Town nuisance and a thief is what he says.
It's kind of sweet, though, this ending, is it not? In a way.
Nuisance of standard YouTuber.
Yeah, you could go there.
I think it's nice
Yeah,
how he
pretty
finally
much.
becomes honest right at the end, though.
I could see him getting
That's
the
what I mean.
600 subs
You're right,
easy.
you got it.
And here we
And
have
then we get to
afraid-
see the
right. Here's our prelude for next week's episode.
yeah, this is good.
So apparently they're out doing some work, and it looks like Professor Robinson has a sign that he wants to post.
why does he who is the sign for?
Yeah, who is this sign for? I love this part. When I looked at it, it's like, okay, I can see it. Except, why do you have to put your name on it?
Oh, he's
Who the hell's going to need to see your name? I laughed my ass off at this scene. I really did. It was like, oh my god.
Danger! Keep away! Ionized gas. Yours sincerely, John Robinson.
Yeah, the whole John Robinson thing was so ridiculous. I laughed. I probably laughed for like 2 minutes watching this. It was like, it was so stupid. Like, why?
Well, I
I see what you're saying. Imagine you're choking your last on this gas. You're going, it was Robinson what told me.
The
I
only
could
thing I
seriously-
think of is it specifically for Penny because she explores everything.
But that's what I was going to say. I think it was maybe as a warning to the family to stay away from the area. I know he didn't have to put his name on it. It could have put Dad on it, I guess.
Imagine
Yeah.
saying that.
I
Stay
mean,
away. This means you, nosy Penny.
Who else on the damn planet is going to post that sign, though?
That reads English.
It's obviously somebody on the Robinson crew, right? So
Oh yeah, there are lots of other creatures on the planet, but they can't.
yeah,
read
but they don't write English.
Maybe it was them. There's a semicolon missing. Surely
Oh, well.
Robinson would use perfect grammar.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I actually really loved it because it made me laugh my ass off. So I'm good.
Yeah,
So
that fixes a lot of Lost in Space for me. It's when it makes me.
Oh
laugh.
yeah. If you don't have a sense of humor, you better not watch Lost in Space because it is quite hilarious at times.
So to sum it up, Professor Robinson sticks the sign into the ground, releasing a deadly gas, which immediately renders him unconscious. And that's where we got our cliffhanger for next week.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great. It's like you're putting a sign warning about deadly gas, and you pound it into the ground, and then you gas yourself. Like that was pretty awesome.
Well, usually everyone likes their own brand, so
That was funny though. It's like, did he not realize when he was pounding the sign into the ground he was going to get gas? Like,
yeah. But usually,
No.
usually our own gas we can handle, right? It's other people's.
Oh, that's true.
I
Yeah.
think I know the kind of gas you're talking about there, Sean.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wanted to
yeah,
share something here.
go
Here we
for it.
go.
Please do, Pop.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to wrap this up because I know it's late for a lot
Yeah,
of
we should.
people.
Yeah, I need to get to bed myself soon.
I gotta go watch Star Trek.
Oh,
Same here.
you're watching
And
Unity
yeah, thank
Syndrome.
goodness, no doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I'll be there, Jill.
Well, that's good.
On day 5, Paul Skelton, brother of Lost in Space co-owner and CBS variety show star Red Skelton, was the props coordinator on Lost in Space. Here he readies Captain Tucker's future events forecaster.
Huh.
So that is
That's
Red
cool.
Skelton's brother.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
for us old folks that know who Red Skelton was.
Oh, I remember. I remember Red Skelton. He had a great show.
Yeah, he was very funny and he was very clean. No cuss words, no
Great
swear
variety.
words.
Great variety show. Very creative. Yeah, he was a very good comedian.
And canned laughter came from his show. That canned laughter we heard on all the sitcoms, they all came from one episode of his show.
Huh.
He was still damn good though. I remember Red. He was pretty awesome.
He was cool. Now, PvP, what say you? Why don't you give us your review? Oh, by the way, reminder everybody, if you haven't already done so, and if my poll is still in the chat, please feel free to vote on what you thought about this episode. Give it a grade. You can vote on the episode itself or our review of the episode. It's totally up to you. And we will be reading the results of that poll as soon as we get everybody's vote here on the panel. So let's start. I'm going to go clockwise as usual. And let's say you, PvP. How would you rate this episode?
I thought this was for the first season. This one was pretty average. I'd give it a C. I didn't hate it, but there's nothing in particular I really loved about it. I thought the story is basically not much happened in the story, right? Um, and I thought Albert Selmy he was okay playing the pirate guy or whatever the hell he was, but I don't know. It just didn't grab me, emotionally or intellectually. So yeah, I'll just give it a C. I thought it was an average episode, but nothing special. That's
Okay,
pretty much it, I guess.
sounds good. Anything you want to say about your channel?
Just doing the rock and roll. I'm still working on that playlist, which I have not finished yet. So
Okay. Well, we'll see it one of these days, right?
we will, maybe weeks from now.
All right, very cool. And Jill, what say you? What would you rate this episode?
I'd go as high as a B minus, and that's only because of the heart that's in it and the pure enjoyment and of the absurdity that made me laugh quite a bit. I enjoyed how well Will can change the heart of the antagonist and even make Captain Tucker want to be better, be a better person. And the pirate, he also, but he was also the issue. I thought it was interesting that he's abducted by aliens and experimented on and all that, but the fact that we never find out how he escapes from them. That would have been fun to find out, or how he got his spaceship.
Right, he could explain that in one line, right?
Mm-hmm. And and so that's why I gave it a B minus, because I thought it was completely hilarious. I wonder if when Gene Roddenberry says I don't want space pirates in my Star Trek, if he was thinking of this episode.
Very possible, because Star Trek was in development at times. You never know, right?
I just got to say, if you didn't want space pirates, how do you explain Harry Mudd?
Mud. I was just thinking the same thing.
There are exceptions anyway, and Cyrano Jones, of course, but also
Exactly. Yeah.
So I have.
Well, isn't that kind of the Klingons are kind of like that too, aren't they?
Well, at least with the Klingons, they're actually they actually have an empire and they're a civilization. So
I think
they're not
pirate.
Do they have a moon?
True. I agree.
Pirates is more, free-willing renegades, right?
Right, with no home country, right?
If you want,
no
pirates,
loyalty to anyone or anything.
We'll look at the copycat Klingons, the Kazon in Voyager.
Yep.
Those are pirates.
Oh my God, Joe!
Copycat
I remember
Klingons.
we watched those.
Does that
on
make
Saturday.
Romulans copycat Vulcans?
God, the Kazons are horrible.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jill. Go ahead. Tell us about your channel.
Yeah, I have a channel, Antiderivative Jill, where I celebrate science fiction. And tomorrow I'll be reviewing the original series Star Trek episode, The Immunity Syndrome. So, and I cover other sci-fi on top of that. And just have a lot of fun doing that. Sometimes I'll play video games too.
And you have a stream on Fridays.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
has
know.
her tea time on Fridays.
Yep. So everybody out there listening, I highly recommend Jill's channel. Please check it out.
Jill's
You'll
channel
find a
is
link
awesome.
down
Thank you.
below. All these wonderful people that are on the panel. The regular panel. I know we have visitors on the panel today, but you'll find links down in the description for Gorillas, Jill, and PvP's channel. Thank you, Jill, for the review.
Welcome.
Captain, anything you'd like to say about this episode or your experience
Yes,
on the
a
stream
couple of
tonight?
things. The force field. I gave you one job, force field. Keep people out. Can we have 1 week where the force field actually does one
I
job?
know, right?
But apart from that, perfect. Yeah, I like the signature on the gas warning sign. No time travel, A++.
Yeah, that definitely is a plus. I agree with that. Would you like to tell us about your channel, Captain?
I'd love to. I think I'm accidentally becoming a Star Trek channel. Don't know how that happened. I know it's funny we talked about the Vulcan moon, because like I don't care, but then physics very similar to that's becoming. And I was just on another show, just trying to explain that the dark side of the moon and the far side of the moon are two different things, just so someone might go, "Oh, that's interesting." But no, we had a fucking 3-hour debate about it. Someone goes, "Well, it's tidally locked." I'm like, "That's a third thing. Stop trying to." Just a basic. I'm just saying the far side of the moon and the dark side of the moon are two different things, except at full moon when they're the same. So if you like having your head done in by basic information, then join my channel and I'll have a rant just for you. Thank you.
There you go, everybody, and I second that. I recommend Captain's channel.
Yeah,
Very
that is
entertaining. Very
Like the
entertaining,
chart.
very insightful.
I do want to comment that Captain does
I gotta say,
Captain does world class rants. I gotta be honest.
I shoot from the hip. I don't take no prisoners.
You
I don't
do.
care.
You shoot from both hips.
You all deserve it. You all need a little clap around the ear hole in a loving
You got
way.
a double shooting there, bud.
Yeah, I've been holding back too.
Oh God. Oh my God. I'm getting frightened now.
yep.
Now I think someone else has something to say about me. Yes.
Well, thank you, Captain. I
I
appreciate
was saying,
Yeah, I'll pass it on to whoever wants to
No,
talk
there was
here.
someone else. Pipe down, people. Yes, someone. You
I'll
at the
shut
back
up
there,
now.
yes.
Thank you. I'll shut up.
I'll take questions. Yes.
I would say that whole dark side of the moon thing is a big pet peeve of mine too. When people say the dark side of the moon, it is not the dark side; it's the far side. Dark
Two
side means
different
it's
things.
tidally locked.
Thank you,
Yep.
sir. You made my day.
Yeah,
That's
planets
all we're saying.
have dark sides. Planets have dark
Right.
sides because they're tidally locked.
Because if you
Yeah.
think of the tidal lock, then the east side and the west side, that's a third thing. There's three things going on.
Yeah. Well, Dark Side's a great pop rock album. But
That's why. That's probably. That's
it's not
also
the same as the moon.
Well, I like the song "Do You Like Pina Colada," but it's actually spelt and pronounced pina. There's a circumflex over the N. Thank you, or should I say, gracias.
Thank you,
The
Captain. I
Enya.
appreciate that.
Thank
And-
you, pop culture.
Sean, would you like to tell us what you thought about this episode?
Well, me and Don, we really liked the episode. Yes,
Don and
kiss
Judy.
me. Yes, now just kiss me. Sorry about that. So no, those were two of the figures for your model, Pop.
Yeah, they look very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I need to paint them. Yeah, I have a model channel. I've hit 100 and no, I'm sorry, not 411 subs. I lost one today.
Nice.
So
It happens. For every one you lose, you'll gain another 5 or 10.
Yeah, someone jumped the ship. But yeah, I just did the K7 space station, which was a lot of fun, and the
cool.
video. Yeah, the video is doing pretty well. I'm surprised. It's an hour and 20 minutes, but people
Very
still
nice.
That's
watch it.
very cool. So,
But yeah, I got that, and is going to start the Jupiter 2. Actually, I did. I recorded the unboxing last night, so I'm going to post it in a few days and let the K7 run its course, and then we'll
Nice.
post the Jupiter 2 unboxing, and I put the pics for that into Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that. So that Jupiter 2 actually has detailed the inside of the ship as well, huh?
Oh, it's insane how much it's. You'll when you watch. I watched the unboxing video. It's only gonna be about 20 minutes, and it's crazy how many pieces are in here.
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate
Yeah.
that, Sean.
Oh, I need to ask you. The fusion core at the bottom of the ship is the fusion core that wraps around. Now there's two pieces. There's two options we have. You can have one with the little blades extended, or one with them inside. But I'll shoot you a picture, and you can decide which one you want.
Sounds great. I appreciate that.
Okay. That's
Thank
it
you,
for
Sean.
me. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it.
All right. So now that I'm on the firing line, okay, here we go. I'm going to give the episode a C. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to give every episode an A. I thought it was middling, and I pointed out a lot of what I thought was plot holes. But, like I said, it's unfortunately, a lot of it is through my view of today as an adult and as a retired teacher, where I would never allow a little kid around strangers. But people didn't think that way back in the 60s, so I can forgive it. I'm not going to hate it. I'm not going to me to it or try to ban it or block it or whatever they called it on Twitter. I liked Albert Salmi's performance, a little over the top. And I can see where this episode was more written to appeal to little kids. So there was an audience out there for it. So I do appreciate that. And check out my channel here. That's another thing that reminds me is I usually put a poll up for our horror sci-fi review on Tuesdays. And I've been so busy the last few days I didn't get a chance to do that. So tomorrow night I'm going to go ahead and do Rumblings from the Lab, which will be open topic, open mic. And we'll talk about whatever we want. And we'll talk about suggestions for future horror movies. I'll let people throw in ideas as well. And then I promise this Wednesday I will be back for Gilligan's Island. I was a little under the weather last week again. This chemotherapy kind of kicks my butt some days. But some days I do feel better than others. And I'm at least a week or two behind on Gilligan's Island, and I've got to get caught up. And then we'll be back again next Monday, obviously, for another episode of Lost in Space. And once again, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll in the chat. If you please vote if you haven't already. I'm going to go ahead and show the results of that.
Yeah, I voted before I came on tonight.
Oh, good. It's still there. Sometimes I never know it. It seems to close itself.
I gave it a C. I thought it was a
here we go.
mediocre episode, to be honest.
Same here. Like I said, middling. I give it a C.
Yeah, it
I
was
wouldn't
okay.
I wouldn't give it an F, but I would give it a C.
I didn't hate it, but there's nothing in it that I loved either. So.
Yeah, but that sign though, that was awesome. Great signage.
A great
Oh, I
sign.
like
We'll always
that.
remember that sign.
I really liked it with the way he signed the sign. He put his name on the sign. That was probably the highlight of the episode, actually.
Okay, so we have a total of 14 votes. What grade would you give the Sky Pirate? And it looks like we got 42% of the votes saying B plus to B minus, 35 saying A plus to A minus, 14% with a C plus to C minus, and 7% with D plus to F minus. Oh, fantastic.
Wow.
Thank you all
This
for
is a
voting. Yeah,
very divisive episode.
yeah, all over the place. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. I can understand that.
I can see it.
Remember, any episode of anything that has no time travel gets 95% of the points just by default.
Yes, it does help.
Yeah. Because if
And,
you're going to do time travel, you're probably going to screw it up. And then I got to get involved, and then it's a thing. And then
right. And if everything works out here correctly, I'm going to show a preview for next week's episode as I close this up. And I want to thank everybody once again. I want to thank everybody who came along in the chat and visited. It's so good to see you. And Gorilla, thank you for helping me tonight. Thank you, Jill, with the slides. And everybody on the panel.
Pop, do you want me to read the remainder of the chat here?
Let me see where Gorilla left off.
All except that last one. Don't read that.
I didn't get to that one yet. There's
What?
not much.
It's not
Was that
Scotty again, is it?
something too nasty, Jill?
No, it's a scam.
Oh,
From
A bot?
Twitch on the Twitch side. Yeah.
that's
I'm glad
not
they
good.
no, but I'm glad they waited till the end to come in. DVB
Wow.
says, "Well, take care, Gorilla." And DVB says, "Good to hear you on the panel, and thanks for reading all of my lame chats." They're not lame, DVB. I love everyone's chats. It's the input and it's the imagination and the different varying opinions is what I enjoy. DVB says, "Sleep well and dream of large women at Gorilla." Fat
Princess
bottom
Bride.
girls, right? Dream of fat bottom girls. Gorilla's Random Thought says, "Hey, it's nap time. Spray." DVB says, "I want one of those space RVs with the treads." I know, right? The chariot, I love it. DVB.
That was a
Pretty
wistful
cool.
sigh, PvP.
I'm tired.
Lemon Pie says, "DVB, there's a 100%
I'm ready for bed.
chat read right here." Yes, I do try to read every one of them. Thank you, Lemon. And as I always encourage everybody, if I don't read yours, please let me know. Jim's Landscape says, "Classic Lost in Space episode all the way." Yeah, thank you, Jim, and good to see you. I'm glad you could be here.
Okay.
And Jim says, "Hey, I got my goodness is AKA Dr. Evil. I got my Mr. Goodness as AKA Dr. Evil." Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but okay. DBB says, "Antiderivative Jill." There's a link to Jill's channel. Thank you for dropping that, DBB. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Rock and
DVB.
roll.
And Jim says, "Sean, any link?" And DBB says, "Take care, Sean." DBB says, "Pops, I didn't know you were a teacher." Yeah, I used to be. DBB, cool, man. DBB says, "Fun stream tonight, Pops. Take care, everybody." Well, thank you, DBB. I had a good time. I'm glad you did too. And DBB says, "Smash the like." Yes, thank you, everybody. If you
Yeah.
enjoyed it, consider hitting the
plan.
like button. And also, if you feel free, if you're watching this on the rerun, leave comments later on, maybe. Jim says, "Hey, PvP nappy time." Yeah, I think it's getting nappy time for all of us.
Nappy
Yeah,
time.
I'm getting pretty tired. It's just a little bit after 10 p.m. here, but yeah.
I've been
gotta-
streaming all
gotta
day,
start-
so
I got to
Whoa.
work in like 12 hours, so I do need some sleep.
straight after
Thank
this,
you.
I'm doing another stream. So anyone, just 24/7. I've decided everyone loves me so much. I'm streaming 24/7 forever. I'm just never sleeping's for the grave, isn't it? So catch me everywhere all the time.
No,
I'll
that's
sleep.
just,
I'll sleep when I'm
definitely-
dead. That's what you're
yeah,
saying.
that is definitely determination.
Yeah, well, as
Sure.
long as you're still working on that graphic novel.
Thank you, Jill. Yes, I am. I'll be doing both.
If
soon as
I
I get
was
free
awake
guests.
24/7, I wouldn't be working on nothing because I'd probably die.
Oh, it's worth it. Well, you don't know if you're alive or dead. That's the beauty of it.
Oh, maybe I am dead. Jeez, I don't know.
And Sean says, "I just made Pop read this." Yes, and I enjoy reading it. Thank you, Sean. And Sean says, "Jim's Landscape." There's a link from StreamYard somewhere.
Nice.
The sci-fi model guy. It should be in there. I believe I have it as part of my bot.
Yeah, it's,
Lemon
it's,
Pie
it
says,
pops up. Yeah.
"Yeah, everybody definitely check out Sean Carter's channel, the sci-fi model guy." Lemon Pie says, "Good night, everybody." And DBB says, "You're going to stream tonight now. You're going to stream now, Captain."
That is
Is it-
correct.
All right.
I'm afraid so, everyone. I'm afraid
And I'll try
so.
to I'll try to stop in, Captain.
Do or do not. Pop culture. There is no.
I
choice.
know. I had to get up really early this morning for
No, I
more
forgive you.
doctor's
You got things
appointments.
going on, but
Yeah, I had
I'm
early
forgiving,
early
let's
doctor's
face it.
appointments this morning, so
I
I'm
might-
trying to
my-
stay awake.
I might pop in for a bit, Captain. No promise.
You better, mister. I want to see you up on the panel interrupting the fuck out of me.
I might pop in for a little while.
Jim says, "Not everyone. I'm falling asleep. Too nappy time for
I am
sure."
very
Absolutely.
tired though, and
And thank you, Lemon Pie, for dropping that link to
Suzanne
Sean
might
Car-
be there.
Thank you, Lemon Pie, for dropping that link to Sean Carter's channel, the Sci-Fi Model Guy. Everybody, please check that out.
Yeah, and I just
And-
put what I think is Finity's channel. I hope. I think it is.
Okay.
Just type in annoying limey fuckwit and it goes straight to Captain Tuesday.
Right. So maybe.
Annoying
Oh,
limey fuckwit. That's the best one I've heard all day, Captain.
So
That's
yeah.
too
So
funny.
everybody, feel free, everybody, to
That's
rate
very
Captain's
good.
channel. Feel free to rate Captain's channel when you leave here. And Lemon Pie DBB, that's Sean's channel, I linked. And DVB says, thank you, I sub level 5. Oh, very cool. Okay, so with that, once again, thank you everybody in the chat. Thank you everybody on the panel. And
Absolutely
Thank you, Pop.
great stream again, Pop. Love it.
oh, it's
Awesome.
my pleasure. And with that, I'm going to show our little teaser for next week.
Please do.
Oh,
Please do.
And hopefully this will work.
Here we go.
Oh, universal spirits, give me a sign that we are friends. What did you do with the explosives? I want the truth.
Composition of object does not compute.
The dangers